Chapter 126. Indifferent, Fu Chao looked at Chu Tong, who was covered in sword qi, and said, "Good, I haven't fought for many years. Today, I will show the Zither God's Tao to the world. Let the world open their eyes." His robe fluttered despite the lack of wind, and a terrifying pressure enveloped heaven and earth like a mountain, causing turbulence in the air. Su Qiaoyin, what do you mean, had already retreated far away. Kong Yifan and the Guiyuan sword school's ancestors had also retreated far away. Various sects and families' disciples had also retreated to a safe place. As Fu Chao's momentum was released, wind and thunder rumbled in the sky. Thunderclouds gathered, and a hurricane formed. Around Fu Chao, Zither runes appeared on their own. No Zither. But, the Zither runes appeared on their own. This was no longer an ordinary Zither immortal's realm. Chu Tong's body was surrounded by sword qi. In the beginning, the sword qi was as soft as the wind, as fine as water, but as the sword qi increased, the sword qi became increasingly violent, like a monstrous wave, like an apocalyptic storm. The sword qi emitted all kinds of subtle sounds that contained the Tao of heaven and earth. Like 10,000 beasts galloping. Like a million thunder drums. Like a rushing waterfall between high mountains. In Chu Tong's hands, one on the left and one on the right, one on the black and one on the red, the two swords in his hands shone even brighter. The two of them faced each other in the sky. Balls of light spread out from their bodies, and invisible waves of energy collided, causing a series of explosions. Although the two of them had yet to make a move, the power exuding from their bodies was enough to make the surrounding experts tremble. Even early world lords like Feng Wen and Kong Yifan were shocked. Fu Chao's Zither Tao has surpassed the Zither immortals. Kong Yifan exclaimed. Feng Wen shook his head, the Zither immortals' realm is already the peak in modern times, how could it be so easy to surpass it? Then he added, but, Fu Chao's Zither Tao has undoubtedly surpassed many Zither immortals. Suddenly, Fu Chao's 10 fingers plucked at the air in front of him. In an instant, the Zither sounds that filled the sky rushed towards Chu Tong like a tidal wave. Some of these notes were as big as a seat, while others were as small as a needle. Some turned into ancient divine beasts. Some were divine blades and sharp blades. It was truly ever-changing. Every sound of the Zither was a kind of power. Looking at the gigantic wave, the ever-changing Guqin music covered the sky and the earth, everyone was shocked. The Guqin deity's Guqin Tao has far surpassed mine. Su Qiaoyin exclaimed in admiration. That guy with the surname Lu said that above the Guqin immortal, there is the Qin emperor and Qin ancestor. What do you mean? The Guqin deity's Guqin Tao has probably reached the level of the Qin emperor or even the level of Qin ancestor. Amidst the crowd's exclamations, Chu Tong simultaneously slashed out with both swords. When Chu Tong slashed out with his two swords, one black and one red, two streaks of sword light, with an unparalleled momentum, instantly plowed away the earth-shattering waves of Zither music. What a powerful sword energy! Lord Chu Tong's sword Tao has endless power. Has he reached the 10,000 laws realm? In the distance, a sect master exclaimed in admiration. Above the sword of creation was the sword of laws, and above the laws was the 10,000 laws realm. The 10,000 laws realm was something that even many of the Jyotian elders couldn't comprehend. It should be. A famous sword Tao ancestor in the firmament divine region said solemnly, and he hasn't just entered the 10,000 laws realm. Chu Tong's sword light plowed through the Zither music, and the Zither music continued to bombard him. The power of the collision between the sword light and the Zither music sputtered in all directions. A streak of sword energy splashed on a mountain peak in the distance. The mountain peak was instantly pierced through, and a straight tunnel appeared in the middle of the mountain peak. The energy of the Zither music splashed everywhere, and the surrounding ground was riddled with holes. Huge craters appeared one after another. In the end, the Zither music and sword energy dissipated. Fu Chao stared at Chu Tong and said indifferently, "The 10,000 Laws Sword. Unfortunately, you haven't reached the late stage of the Lord of a Plane, so today, you will lose." When one's world energy exceeded 30 million units, one would reach the late stage of the Lord of a Plane. But Chu Tong's world energy was more than 29 million units. As Fu Chao said this, 40 million units of world energy gushed out crazily. With a wave of his hands, heaven and earth shook. The zither music that filled the sky set off thousands of waves that smashed towards Chu Tong. This time, the zither waves were even stronger, coming from all directions. Moreover, Fu Chao had infused 40 million units of world energy into them. The zither music filled heaven and earth. Everyone's mind was filled with Fu Chao's zither music. Chu Tong's entire body emitted sword light as he slashed out with both hands. When he slashed out with both swords, the crowd had an illusion that Chu Tong wasn't slashing out with sword energy. Chu Tong disappeared from the world. Only sword energy and zither music remained between heaven and earth. Bang! A series of loud bangs followed. This was the sound of sword and zither's destructive power colliding. Dazzling lights burst out continuously. After a long time, when the sword energy and zither music dissipated, Chu Tong, who had disappeared from the world, once again appeared in the same place. Chu Tong stood there, and suddenly, blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. His imposing figure that was originally standing between heaven and earth swayed. Feng Wen, Kong Yifan, and the others' expressions changed. It was obvious that Chu Tong was injured in the previous attack. The Guiyuan Sword School's disciples who were still holding on to hope felt their hearts sink. Although Chu Tong hadn't lost yet, if the battle dragged on, defeat was only a matter of time. Chu Tong stood there, smiling bitterly. Although he had comprehended the 10,000 sword technique, his cultivation realm was still a little lower than Fu Chao's. Fu Chao had already broken through to the late stage of the Lord of a Plane. Although Huang Xiaolong was a peak mid-stage Lord of a Plane, there was a difference of 10 million units between the two of them. Indifferent, Fu Chao looked at Chu Tong. "Chu Tong, let me ask you again, are you going to hand over the snowy universe or not? Are you going to hand over the black dragon Qin or not? I'll give you 1 minute to think carefully before answering." His gaze swept over Feng Wen, Kong Yifan, and the dozen others. "If you don't hand it over in 1 minute, they'll all die. Do you want the zither, or do you want to save their lives?" Feng Wen, Kong Yifan, and the rest of the Guiyuan Sword School's ancestors were enraged. Just as Chu Tong was about to speak, an indifferent voice sounded from the void, "You can't take their lives. Your life is mine." Everyone was stunned. At the same time, in the Wind Lightning Manor's city courtyard, Lu Yiping's palm suddenly pressed into the void. The void shattered as his palm force penetrated through layers of space, breaking through layers upon layers of space obstacles. Following that, a giant palm imprint appeared above the Guiyuan sect. Then, like the Buddha's hand, the giant palm imprint emitted a resplendent Buddhist aura as it slammed down. Buddha's wrath. His voice reverberated through heaven and earth. Zither god Fu Chao was terrified. He wanted to flee, but he realized that he couldn't move under the pressure of the giant palm imprint. He couldn't even move. Before the Buddha's palm could land, the terrifying power had already ripped his robe apart. Even the supreme grade divine armor on his body exploded. It was as if the supreme grade divine armor was just a piece of paper. Boom! Fu Chao was pressed down by the giant palm. It slammed into a mountain peak. The mountain peak exploded. The palm force continued to press down. The mountain peak crumbled into dust. Everything within 1,000 li radius was reduced to dust, turning into a flat land. At the center of the flat land was a giant palm imprint of unknown depth. Chapter 127. Su Qiaoyin covered her cherry mouth as she looked at the zither god, Fu Chao, who was blasted into the deep pit with her beautiful eyes. He, on the other hand, was completely stiff and motionless. It was unknown whether he was stunned or scared silly. The eyes of the experts attending the sword school assembly were filled with shock. This sudden turn of events left the crowd with nothing but astonishment and shock. Shock and awe. The famous Jyotian zither god Fu Chao from the Xinhua era was smashed into the ground by the sudden appearance of the Buddha palm. There was no suspense, no power to resist, and no chance to escape. Just what kind of mighty power was this, to be able to suppress an old antique of the 9 heavens, who had already been sealed as a god, to the point of exploding with a single palm? Feng Wen, Kong Yifan, and the others were still in shock, but they recalled the voice just now. You can't take their lives, but I'll take yours. That voice was very familiar. They had spent all their time with the owner of that voice these past few days. But didn't the owner of that voice leave the Guiyuan sword school this morning? Could he be nearby? Not far away. Sun Hongyuan, who was standing beside Qiu Yu, also felt a chill run down his spine. He seemed to be quite familiar with that voice as well. The people of the Guiyuan sword sect couldn't see Lu Yiping's attack because they were separated by layers of space. However, Ancestor Jun, the experts of the Jun family, Hao Bai, Qi Yifan, and Tao Haiba could see it clearly. They saw Lu Yiping shatter space with a single palm, the palm energy passing through layers of space and directly smashing the zither god Fu Chao into the ground. Taurus Longjiao used the Sun-Moon Mountain River sword formation to send Jun Tianjian flying. Ancestor Jun was about to make a move when he saw Lu Yiping smashing the zither god Fu Chao into the ground through layers of space. His eyes were filled with shock. Although this was the Firmament Divine region, the Guiyuan Sword School was in the Azure Cloud Mansion, and whose city was in the Wind Thunder Mansion. How many tens of thousands of li were the two places separated? How could a person's strength be so tyrannical? Although the master of the plane could control the power of the plane, there was a limit to how much power he could wield. After blasting out tens of thousands of miles, his power would be exhausted. However, Lu Yiping's palm force had passed through space for tens of thousands of miles. Not only was the force not exhausted, it even directly suppressed a Jyotian old man into the ground. At this time, Lu Yiping made a grabbing motion in the air. In the sky above Guiyuan Sword School, the giant handprint appeared again. Just when everyone thought that the giant palm was going to continue attacking zither god Fu Chao, the giant palm suddenly pulled Fu Chao out from the deep pit in the ground. Then, it shattered the space above and carried Fu Chao into the depths of space, disappearing from everyone's sight in an instant. Looking at the closed and shattered sky, everyone was stunned for a long time. The sun was still shining brightly above Guiyuan Sword School. Everything was fine and sunny. Was everything just a dream? However, there was still a huge Buddha palm imprint on the ground. The Buddhist light was still flowing out from the deep pit. The surrounding mountain peaks that had been flattened by the Buddha palm were still blowing sand and dust. Chu Tong's expression was the same as usual. He swallowed a healing pill and said to everyone in a clear voice, "Everyone, it's all right now. Please don't spread what happened today." However, he also knew that it wouldn't be long before this matter would shake the Jyotian. Just as Chu Tong was about to turn around and enter the Guiyuan ancestral land, Lu Yiping's voice sounded, "Su Qiaoyin and Luo Yuan, kill them." Chu Tong was startled. He turned to look at the distant Su Qiaoyin and Luo Yuan. "What do you mean?" Black and white swords appeared in their hands. "Su Qiaoyin and what do you mean?" Both of them felt Chu Tong's killing intent. Their expressions changed and they were about to flee. However, as soon as they turned around, they were submerged by the sword chi that filled the sky. After a while, the two of them completely dissipated along with the sword chi. Chu Tong sheathed his swords and turned around to enter the Guiyuan Sword School's ancestral land. Kong Yifan and the others gulped as they watched Chu Tong's figure. Their hearts were filled with complicated emotions. Earlier, they had even tried to persuade their founder to capture Lu Yiping and hand him over to the Tai Ching sword school as an apology. Now that they thought about it, their hearts were filled with shame, and their backs were drenched in cold sweat. Kong Yifan and the others followed Chu Tong into the ancestral land. Everyone was stunned for a long time as they watched Chu Tong kill Su Qiaoyin and Luo Yuan. After Chu Tong and the others entered the ancestral land, Qiu Yu, Sun Hongyuan, and the others stood up. Lord Qiu Yu, do you think that voice just now was? Sun Hongyuan asked, his voice trembling. Qiu Yu stared at the Buddha's palm on the ground and remained silent for a long time. In a small courtyard in Lake City, Fu Chao was thrown to the ground by Lu Yiping. Lu Yiping had held back, so Fu Chao didn't die. Seeing Fu Chao thrown to the ground like a dead dog and on the verge of death, Ancestor Jun and the others felt an indescribable feeling. Fu Chao's body was covered in cracks and bloody wounds. He looked at Lu Yiping, his heart filled with fear. Who are you? Before you came, you didn't ask Su Qiaoyin what I looked like. Lu Yiping said indifferently. You're Lu Yiping. Fu Chao's long blue hair shook, shaking off some of the dust on it. He was from the same generation as the holy demon. Before he went into seclusion, he was titled as the Zither God and had experienced countless battles. But now, facing Lu Yiping, he only felt deep fear. This was because the strength that Lu Yiping had displayed was simply too shocking. It had completely exceeded his understanding. Hearing Fu Chao say that the blue-robed young man in front of them was Lu Yiping, Ancestor Jun, Jun Tianjian, and the others were shocked and surprised. Chu Tong had protected Lu Yiping and clashed with the Tai Ching sword school. This matter had caused a stir in the Firmament Divine region recently. This person was actually Lu Yiping. At this moment, a snow-white zither appeared in front of Lu Yiping. It was snow fills the universe. Lu Yiping glanced at Fu Chao and said indifferently, the zither is here. Come and get it. Fu Chao waved his hand in shock. Sir, please spare my life on account of my ignorance. I won't dare to offend the Guiyuan sword school and sir again next time. Lu Yiping said coldly, you think there will be a next time? If I hadn't acted in time, the Guiyuan sword school would have flowed with rivers of blood. While Fu Chao was still in shock, Lu Yiping waved his hand and snow fills the universe rumbled. Countless zither notes flew out and blasted into Fu Chao's body. Then, Fu Chao exploded, a mist of blood flying. Zither god Fu Chao was dead. Seeing the famous Jyotian zither god Fu Chao die in front of them like this in the holy demon era, Ancestor Jun, Jun Tianjian, and the others felt their hands and feet turn cold. Lu Yiping turned his head and his gaze fell on Ancestor Jun. I'll give you two choices. The first is that the Jun family and the Guiyuan sword school form an alliance. In the future, you will follow the Guiyuan sword school's lead. The second is that you will die like Fu Chao. Ancestor Jun's expression changed. After a while, he took a deep breath and cupped his fists at Lu Yiping. The Jun family is willing to form an alliance with the Guiyuan sword school. Please rest assured, Lord. In the future, I will follow the Guiyuan sword school's lead. Qi Yifan also stepped forward. The Black Wind sect is willing to form an alliance with the Guiyuan sword school. In the future, we will follow the Guiyuan sword school's lead. Tao Haiba added, the Tao family is willing to form an alliance with the Guiyuan sword school. We will follow the Guiyuan sword school's lead. The other patriarchs also chimed in. Oh, you're the Black Wind sect's ancestor and the Tao family's ancestor. Lu Yiping looked at Qi Yifan and Tao Haiba in surprise. Qi Yifan and Tao Haiba's hearts skipped a beat when they saw Lu Yiping's strange expression. Fan family, do you still remember? Lu Yiping asked. Originally, he didn't want to interfere with the Fan family's matters, but since he ran into them, he might as well solve it. Chapter 128. Hearing Lu Yiping mention the Fan family, Qi Yifan, Tao Haiba, and the other two ancestors from the Black Wind sect and Tao family panicked. Lord, the Fan family's ancestor betrayed us. Qi Yifan tried to defend himself. Taurus Longjiao interrupted, as far as we know, the Fan family's ancestor saved your Black Wind sect, but you joined forces with the Tao family to annihilate the Fan family. It's you who betrayed us, isn't it? Qi Yifan and Tao Haiba groaned. With a flick of his fingers, Lu Yiping shattered Qi Yifan, Tao Haiba, and the others' godheads and meridians. However, he didn't kill them, only sparing their lives. Subsequently, Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao left the courtyard with Hao Bai and his disciples, heading back to the Guiyuan sword school. Of course, Ancestor Jun Tianjian, and the others followed behind them. While Lu Yiping was on his way back to the Guiyuan sword school, the news of the Zither god's appearance and his defeat at the Guiyuan sword school spread like wildfire. Jiutian was shaken. Zither domain. The Qin and Painting School's sect chief Hua Rushing was in the main hall, looking at the Grand Elder reporting to him with disbelief. What did you say? The Zither god's ancestor was defeated by a Buddha's palm? Yes, Lord Sect Chief. The Qin and Painting School's Grand Elder was kneeling on the ground, sobbing as he said, according to one of the sect chiefs present, the Zither god's ancestor defeated Chu Tong's sword of 10,000 laws. Chu Tong was supposed to lose, but a Buddha's palm suddenly appeared, pressing the Zither god's ancestor into the ground. The Zither god didn't even have a chance to escape. That Buddha's palm was too strong. The sovereign of the Qin and Painting School, Hua Rushing, who was originally standing, fell back onto his throne. Hua Rushing muttered to himself in a daze, even the Zither god, a late-stage lord of a plane, was suppressed into the ground with a single palm strike. What happened after that? Suddenly, he asked the Grand Elder with hope in his eyes. The Grand Elder didn't dare to conceal the truth. He answered, later, old ancestor Zither god was taken away by the other party and disappeared. However, before he disappeared, there were people who said that old ancestor Zither god's godhead and meridians were shattered, and he was on the verge of death. Hua Rushing, who had been filled with hope, opened his mouth and sat there in a daze. The Grand Elder stammered, also, after the Zither deity old ancestor was captured, Chu Tong killed goddess Su Qiaoyin and Lord, what do you mean? Hua Rushing, who had suffered a huge blow, couldn't help but be enraged. Chu Tong, you dare to kill my disciple. However, not only did Chu Tong dare to do so, he even killed 2 people in a row. Guiyuan Sword School, my Qin and Painting School will not rest until you're dead. Hua Rushing roared. The Grand Elder was speechless when he saw the usually refined Hua Rushing's ferocious expression. However, the Qin and Painting School's sect master was afraid that the Zither god was suppressed and 2 of his disciples were killed. No matter who it was, the Qin and Painting School's sect master would go crazy. A while later, when Hua Rushing calmed down, the Grand Elder said, Sect Master, the Guiyuan Sword School has such an expert. In my opinion, our Qin and Painting School should make further plans. At this time, a voice drifted out from the Qin and Painting School's ancestral land. Don't touch the Guiyuan Sword School for the time being. There wasn't a trace of emotion in the voice, and it made one's hair stand on end. This feeling was akin to being targeted by a terrifying devil. Hearing this voice, Hua Rushing hurriedly knelt down in front of the ancestral land and bowed. Hua Rushing obeys old ancestor Mo Ju's divine decree. Old ancestor Mo Ju. When the Grand Elder heard Hua Rushing's name, he suddenly thought of a person and felt his body turn cold. He crawled on the ground, not daring to move. Qin Mo Ju was the same as Qin god Fu Chao. They were both experts of the Qin and Painting School's generation. Moreover, the 2 of them were fellow disciples under Tian Sangshanren. However, Qin Mo Ju kept a low profile and rarely took action. His fame wasn't as high as Qin god Fu Chao's, but the experts of the Qin and painting school knew that Qin Mo Ju's strength was above Qin god Fu Chao's. In the past, Qin Mo Ju suddenly disappeared, and the Qin and painting school announced to the public that Qin Mo Ju had fallen. But now, he was actually still alive. Could it be that Qin Mo Ju had been hiding in the ancestral land to cultivate a secret art? Investigate clearly who used the Buddha's palm and what relationship he has with the Guiyuan sword school. Hua Rusheng's voice sounded, investigate clearly and report to me immediately. Yes, please rest assured, old ancestor Mo Ju. Hua Rusheng respectfully replied. The voice disappeared. At this time, in the Taiching Sword School's main hall, Zhang Sangchong looked at the Taiching Sword School's sect master Bu Yun and asked indifferent, have you investigated clearly? Did Chu Tong really kill Qin Huai, 7 heavenly deities, and close to 100 true deities? Taiching Sword School's sect master Bu Yun respectfully replied, reporting to old ancestor Shangqing, the investigation has been completed. Qin Huai and the others have indeed died in the Guiyuan Sword School's ancestral land. Zhang Sangchong suddenly raised his head and laughed angrily. His voice was filled with a strong killing intent. What a great Guiyuan Sword School! First, they killed my Taiching Sword School's old ancestor Jin Guk. I sent people over to question them, and now, they've even killed all the people I sent. Chu Tong, if I don't destroy your Guiyuan Sword School and kill that Lu Yiping, then I, Zhang Sangchong, am not Zhang Sangchong. Zhang Sangchong's voice resounded in the main hall. Then, he said to the Taiching Sword School's sect master, I'm making a trip to the Guiyuan Sword School right now. Just as Zhang Sangchong was about to leave, a Taiching Sword School's grand elder ran in anxiously and reported to Zhang Sangchong and Bu Yun, reporting to old ancestor Shangqing and Lord Sect Master, news has just come from the Guiyuan Sword School. The Zither God, Lord Fu Chao, arrived at the Guiyuan Sword School. However, he was suppressed underground by a mysterious person using a Supreme Buddha's palm. Zhang Sangchong and Chu Yun were stunned. What did you say? The Zither God has appeared? Bu Yun didn't dare to believe it. He was suppressed by a mysterious expert from the Guiyuan Sword School. Yes. That grand elder hurriedly recounted the news he received. When Zhang Sangchong and Chu Yun heard that the Zither God, Fu Chao, had defeated Chu Tong, but was suddenly suppressed underground by a Buddha's palm, the two of them were filled with shock. Suppressing and suppressing with a single move were two different things. There are also people who say that this mysterious expert is Lu Yiping. That grand elder added. What, Lu Yiping? Zhang Sangchong and Chu Yun trembled. Zhang Sangchong swallowed his saliva, his throat dry and itchy. Are you sure? Chu Yun asked, feeling his heart tighten. Not yet. There are people who say that the mysterious expert's voice sounded like Lu Yiping's, but no one saw Lu Yiping's attack. That grand elder continued, however, there are also people who say that it wasn't Lu Yiping. Lu Yiping left the Guiyuan Sword School a long time ago. Use all your resources to investigate, as fast as possible. Find out if Lu Yiping wasn't in the Guiyuan Sword School at that time. Zhang Sangchong said with a solemn expression. That grand elder acknowledged the order and left. Watching that grand elder leave, Zhang Sangchong's expression changed. Just a moment ago, he had said that he would make a trip to the Guiyuan Sword School to destroy the Guiyuan Sword School and Lu Yiping. What about now? He was strong, but he was only on par with the Zither God, Fu Chao. Chapter 129. The Taiching Sword School's sect master, Chu Yun, glanced at Zhang Sangchong. Just a moment ago, Zhang Sangchong had said that he wouldn't be Zhang Sangchong if he didn't destroy the Guiyuan Sword School and kill Lu Yiping. Zhang Sangchong's face turned red when he felt the strange gaze of the Taiching Sword School's sect master Chu Yun. While everyone was still in shock over Zither God Fu Chao's matter, within the ancestral grounds of the Kunping divine sect in the demon god domain. The Kunping divine sect head Fei Jie was currently reporting to the old ancestor of the Kunping divine sect, Lei Yu, about zither god Fu Chao. Oh! Suppressing Fu Chao with one palm? Lei Yu was surprised. Yes. Rumors have it that Lu Yiping did it, but it hasn't been confirmed yet, Fei Jie said respectfully. I also found out that Lu Yiping killed Jiang Yu in the Hengyuan plain. Lei Yu nodded and said, if it was really Lu Yiping, then he isn't weak. However, he didn't put it to heart. To him, suppressing Fu Chao was just not weak. The heavenly steel is about to appear, right? Lei Yu suddenly asked. Fei Jie was stunned, then he said respectfully, yes, it's about to appear. Lei Yu said, when the heavenly steel appears, I will comprehend the heavenly steel's supreme art. I will definitely be able to break through. An aura stronger than Fu Chao's filled the Kunping divine sect's ancestral grounds. Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao returned to the Guiyuan sword school. When Kong Yifan and the others faced Lu Yiping, their expressions didn't change. Now that they faced Lu Yiping again, they were submissive. When they passed by the divine sacred hall, they even held their breaths and were extremely careful. It was as if they were afraid of stepping on lightning. When Feng Wen and the others learned that Ancestor Jun and the other sect's ancestors had come to form an alliance with the Guiyuan sword school, they were naturally delighted. Lu Yiping didn't care about the alliance. He brought Hao Bai into the divine sacred hall and took out the fortune jade disc. Hao Bai was surprised when he saw the jade. He said, Lord, is the jade in your hand is the one I left in the heavenly demon tribe's ancestral shrine? That's right. Lu Yiping asked, I want to know, where did you get this jade? Hao Bai finally understood why Lu Yu was looking at him. Could it be that this piece of jade had a secret that he didn't know? Hao Bai recalled for a moment and said, I bought this jade in the ancient city of the Great Void region. You bought it? Lu Yiping was surprised. Originally, he had guessed that Hao Bai had found the good fortune jade disc in some dangerous or precious place. Yes. Hao Bai nodded. Although many years have passed, I still remember that I bought it from an old shop in the ancient mystic city. The shop owner said that the jade disc was his family's heirloom, so the price was a little high. I was a peak late-stage true god at the time, so I spent 100 million divine-grade spirit stones to buy it. Hao Bai had traveled far and wide, so he didn't have much savings. 100 million divine-grade spirit stones wasn't cheap for a true god who didn't have much wealth. Hao Bai said, at the time, I felt that this jade disc was extraordinary, so I spent a lot of money to buy it. After I bought it, I returned to the heavenly demon tribe, but I couldn't figure out its secret. I only know that it can calm the mind and repel evil spirits. After I became a heavenly god, this jade disc wasn't very useful to me, so I left it in the heavenly demon tribe's ancestral shrine. Lu Yiping flicked his finger and a huge heaven-grade origin stone flew out. A heaven-grade origin stone. Hao Bai was shocked. A heaven-grade spirit stone was priceless in the Jiutian. It was many times more valuable than a divine-grade spirit stone. Needless to say, an uncut heaven-grade origin stone was even more valuable. This heaven-grade origin stone can be cut into 10 million pieces, Lu Yiping said, please take me to the old shop in the ancient mystic city. Hao Bai was a little scared when he heard this. He quickly waved his hand and said, Lord, you saved me earlier. I can't accept this heaven-grade origin stone. Whenever Lord wants, I can take you to the old shop. How could he dare to take Lu Yiping's money? Take it. Lu Yiping said, this is another matter. Hao Bai hesitated for a moment, then put away the heaven-grade origin stone. Hao Bai thanks Lord. Then he said, actually, this lowly one has a favor to ask of Lord. Lu Yiping said, speak. My disciple Su Yi, whether it is talent or nature, this child is not bad. He has been following me around all these years, roaming the world and has suffered a lot. Therefore, I want him to stay in the Guiyuan sword school. I sincerely hope Lord can take him in. Hao Bai pleaded. So that's how it is. Lu Yiping smiled and said, looking at your serious face, I thought it was something important. Alright, I'll talk to Chu Tong later. When the time comes, he will stay in the Guiyuan sword school and let Feng Wen give him some pointers. When Hao Bai heard this, he happily thanked Lu Yiping. Lu Yiping told Hao Bai to get up and called Chu Tong over. He told him about Hao Bai's disciple Su Yi and asked him to arrange Hao Bai's residence. I'm going to the Great Void region in 2 days. After Chu Tong arranged Hao Bai's residence, Lu Yiping said to Chu Tong, I'll help you strengthen the Guiyuan Sword School's ancestral land grand formation in the next 2 days. Although the origin returning sword formation was not weak, it was barely enough to deal with a late-stage lord of a plane. Master wants to go to the Great Void region. Chu Tong was surprised. Master, you've only been here for a few days, you should stay a little longer. Lu Yiping shook his head, I have some matters to attend to in the Great Void region's ancient mystic city. I came here this time to see you. He then asked, that unparalleled restaurant's unparalleled wine sage is Holy Devil's disciple in name. Chu Tong was stunned, then nodded, Gu Wushuang is indeed senior brother Holy Devil's disciple in name, but outsiders don't know my relationship with Master, so Gu Wushuang doesn't know my relationship with senior brother Holy Devil. Gu Wushuang was unparalleled wine sage's real name. He then said, Gu Wushuang has a good head for business. His unparalleled restaurant is doing well, and it's already the Jiutian's #1 restaurant. With the restaurant's financial resources, his subordinates are very strong, at least not weaker than the Taiching Sword School and Black Heaven sect. However, Gu Wushuang rarely manages the restaurant anymore. Some of his juniors are very close to the Black Heaven sect and Taiching Sword School, and some of them are a little arrogant. As for how arrogant they were, Chu Tong did not say. Obviously, Gu Wushuang's juniors did not give him a good impression. Lu Yiping then asked about the Taiching Sword School, Black Heaven sect, Qin and Painting School, and Kunpeng Divine sect. Chu Tong reported everything he knew to Lu Yiping. Master, you have to be careful when you go to the Great Void region. The Great Void region has always been chaotic. Chu Tong said, I heard that it's been even more chaotic recently. Someone killed the Saber God's disciple, and the Saber God and the Yen family have been searching for the murderer. However, he also knew that with Lu Yiping's strength, there was nothing to worry about. For the next 2 days, Lu Yiping comprehended the good fortune jade disc at night, and took time during the day to teach Chu Tong how to cultivate and strengthen the Guiyuan ancestral land sword formation. Of course, he did not forget to water Jianshu every day. On the 3rd day, Chu Tong, Su Yi, and the others respectfully sent off Lu Yiping, Taurus Longjiao, and Hao Bai out of the Guiyuan sword school. Chapter 130. However, before heading to the Great Void region, Lu Yiping stopped by a small shop in the Azure Sun Plain Market. The shop owner was dozing off in a corner just like before, but when he saw Lu Yiping, he was startled and quickly got up to greet him. Recently, Lu Yiping's matter had spread like wildfire in the Firmament Divine region, and he had heard about it. The shop owner was surprised when he learned that Lu Yiping was going to the Great Void region. Where is your master now? Lu Yiping asked. The store owner hurriedly said, Young Master Lu, I've already reported the matter of the Black Dragon King to my master. However, my master has some matters to attend to in the Void region, so he can't make it back in time. Oh, then where is your master in the Great Void region? Lu Yiping asked. The shop owner named a place. Lu Yiping noted it down, then left the Azure Sun Plain Market with Taurus Longjiao and the others, heading to the Great Void region. The shop owner respectfully sent Lu Yiping off, watching Lu Yiping's group disappearing under the setting sun, and muttered, the Great Void region's heavenly steel is about to appear, are they going to the Great Void region for the heavenly steel? In front of the heavenly steel, there will be another mountain of corpses. According to legend, the heavenly steel was left behind by the heavenly court's heavenly emperor in the ancient times. Jiutian had a total of 29 domains. The Great Void region and the Demon God domain were the two largest domains in Jiutian. Other than the Demon God domain, the Great Void region was the largest. However, although the Great Void region was big, many forces were gathered here, thus, the Great Void region was chaotic. Among the top 10 Jiutian super forces, the Black Heaven sect, ranked third, had its headquarters in the Great Void region. Other than the Black Heaven sect, the 5th-ranked Yen clan, the 7th-ranked Heavenly Beast Gate, and the 8th-ranked Shumi Buddhist sect had their headquarters in the Great Void region. After Lu Yiping left the Firmament God region, he traveled through several regions and finally arrived at the Great Void region. While Lu Yiping was rushing towards the ancient mystic city, the news of the birth of the heavenly steel had also spread. Along the way, Lu Yiping and the others heard the most discussions about the birth of the heavenly steel. When the heavenly monument appears this time, small sects like us can only watch from afar. I'm afraid we won't even be able to see anything, let alone the word heaven on the heavenly monument. Every time the heavenly steel appears, the main steel and the other 9 steels around it would definitely belong to the Kunpeng divine sect. The other heavenly steels have been divided among the Profound Heaven sect, the Yen clan, the Heavenly Beast Gate, and the Shumi Buddhist sect. When they passed by an ancient city, many disciples were talking about it. Zither God Fu Chao, you have been famous all your life. Who would have thought that you would not be able to protect yourself in your later years? That's right, he couldn't even take a single palm from that mysterious expert. Now, the Zither God Fu Chao and the Qin and Painting School have become a joke. Aside from the birth of the heavenly steel, the most talked about topic was the Zither God Fu Chao being suppressed by the mysterious expert. After the Zither God Fu Chao was captured by the mysterious expert, he disappeared for many days. Some people say that he's already dead. The Qin and Painting School can't possibly take this lying down. I heard that Fu Chao's senior brother, the Zither Devil, actually didn't die back then and has already appeared in the world. Not only did he not die, the Zither Devil actually comprehended the Heavenly Steel's supreme secret technique back then and has been hiding in the depths of the Qin and Painting School's ancestral land to cultivate. Recently, he has already achieved some success in his cultivation. This time, he came out not only for Fu Chao, but also for the birth of the heavenly steel. Hearing the discussions, Huang Jiu and Hao Bai were both surprised. The Zither Devil actually didn't die. Huang Jiu said, although this person's fame isn't comparable to the Zither God Fu Chao, his strength is definitely more terrifying than Fu Chao. Lu Yiping didn't take the Zither Devil's matter to heart. When is the birth of the heavenly steel? Lu Yiping suddenly asked. Hao Bai quickly said, it's in the middle of next month. Lu Yiping nodded. If that was the case, they would still have time to rush to the heavenly steel town after going to the ancient mystic city. The heavenly steels were left behind by the heavenly emperor. There were a total of 100 heavenly steels. Apart from recording supreme techniques, some of the heavenly steels also recorded ancient secrets and some other things. Therefore, Lu Yiping wanted to go and take a look. Back then, the Jianshu was cut off by the heavenly emperor. Perhaps, they could find some records of the Jianshu from these heavenly steels. If they knew where the Jianshu grew back then, they might be able to find the main root of the Jianshu. Night fell. After passing through a barren mountain, Lu Yiping's group stopped at the foot of a mountain. They roasted meat and drank wine over a bonfire. Lu Yiping took out a book and flipped through it. This book was obtained from Zither God Fu Chao's spatial divine tool. It was quite interesting. It recorded some ancient races matters and some ancient techniques. It was just that these cultivation techniques were incomplete, so it was extremely difficult to comprehend them. Before the ancient era, there was the primordial era, the immemorial era, the desolate era, and the creation of the heavens. Items from the immemorial era and the desolate era were very rare nowadays. Because too much time had passed, even transcendent-grade divine tools would be corroded by time. They would break down and turn back into fine iron ore. However, items from the ancient era and the primordial era could still be seen occasionally. This book was an item from the ancient era. It was unknown what material it was made of. Although it had been through the ancient era, the middle era, and the recent era, it didn't decay at all. He had been reading this book for the past few days. He deduced that this book was left behind by the ancient era's spirit monkey tribe. In the ancient era, the spirit monkey tribe was extremely powerful. Among them, the wise stone monkey, red-bone horse monkey, long-armed ape monkey, and six-eared macaque were the four great spirit monkeys of the spirit monkey tribe. While Lu Yiping was flipping through this ancient book, Hao Bai was carefully drinking the Age of Eternity wine that Lu Yiping gave him. Although he didn't know what medicinal herbs were used to brew this Age of Eternity wine, he knew that it was extremely precious. It was just like how Zhou Cheng was reluctant to drink the wisdom beggar back then. Taurus Longjiao saw Hao Bai's cautious manner and smiled. Master still has more of this Age of Eternity wine. It's boring for you to drink it like this. Hao Bai smiled embarrassedly. He carefully asked Taurus Longjiao, Lord Shaojin, does this Age of Eternity wine have ice-fire fruits? When the medicine king Halls He Shao tasted ice-fire fruits, Hao Bai also tasted them. The dragon horn golden bull smiled and said, there is an ice-flame fruit, but it is the most common of all the ingredients. Master added star chaos water to it a few days ago. Star chaos water. Hao Bai's hand trembled, almost dropping the wine jug. Taurus Longjiao smiled, it's just star chaos water. There are ingredients more precious than star chaos water in this Age of Eternity wine. Hao Bai was dumbfounded. Don't listen to Xiao Jin's nonsense. Lu Yiping laughed casually. While Lu Yiping's group was chatting, a group of people approached from afar. The person in the lead was a young man with an imposing appearance. Lu Yiping was surprised to see this young man. This was the same young man from the Heavenly Dragon Divine Country that he had met at the Heavenly Secret Chamber of Commerce's auction. At that time, this young man had competed with him for the Myriad Gods Order and even used the Heavenly Dragon Sword to attack him. The Heavenly Dragon Divine Country's Ao Bai flew over from afar with his subordinates. When he saw the light, he was startled to see that it was Lu Yiping. At the Big Dipper Empire's Heavenly Secret Chamber of Commerce's auction, Lu Yiping had left a deep impression on him. Chapter 131. It's him. Ao Bai blurted out when he saw Lu Yiping from afar. The experts behind Ao Bai weren't with him at the auction, so they didn't recognize Lu Yiping. They were astonished to see Ao Bai pale with fright. They all knew their young master's identity. Given his status, even a Jiutian powerhouse wouldn't make their young master's expression change like this. Young master, who is this person? One of the experts couldn't help but ask. Ao Bai's voice was heavy. Lu Yiping. He's Lu Yiping. They were all shocked. Although they had followed Ao Bai from the Divine Land to the Jiutian continent for only a few days, they had heard many Jiutian experts talking about the murder of Zither god Fu Chao. Some people said that the killer was a young man called Lu Yiping. Zither god Fu Chao was killed by him. One of them stared at Lu Yiping in the distance. Under the illumination of the bonfire, Lu Yiping gave off a quiet and mysterious feeling. It should be him, Ao Bai said. After returning to the Divine Land from the Heavenly Secret Chamber of Commerce's auction, he thought about it again and told his father and grandfather about his encounter with Lu Yiping at the auction. When his father and grandfather learned that Lu Yiping might know their old ancestor, they were also shocked. However, their old ancestor had not come out of the primordial dragon tomb for many years. Even his grandfather didn't know whether he was still alive or not. Therefore, they couldn't find out Lu Yiping's identity from their old ancestor. Later, his grandfather specially investigated Lu Yiping's identity. However, he couldn't find out Lu Yiping's background. Ao Bai hesitated for a moment, then finally flew over to Lu Yiping's group. Arriving in front of the bonfire, he cupped his fists and respectfully said to Lu Yiping, "Greetings, Lord Lu." Lu Yiping glanced at them and asked, "You guys are also here for the heavenly monolith?" The heavenly steel was about to appear, but Ao Bai appeared in the Jyotian. It couldn't be such a coincidence. Ao Bai did not hide anything and replied respectfully, "Yes, the heavenly steel is about to appear. We are also here to try our luck. Have a seat." Lu Yiping pointed to an empty seat beside the bonfire. Ao Bai sat on the empty seat. The four experts behind him looked at each other and sat down behind Ao Bai. "After the auction, did you go back and talk to your ancestors?" Lu Yiping asked casually. Ao Bai shook his head. "My family's old ancestor entered the primordial dragon tomb and did not come out for many years. My grandfather also hasn't seen him for many years." "Oh, you entered the immemorial dragon tomb?" Lu Yiping was surprised. When the four experts behind Ao Bai heard Lu Yiping mention their divine nation's old ancestor, they looked at Lu Yiping in surprise. "Yes, our old ancestor entered the deepest part of the immemorial dragon tomb. Even my grandfather couldn't enter that place, so we haven't seen our old ancestor for many years," Ao Bai said. Speaking of this, he looked at the myriad ages wine in Hao Bai's, Huang Jiu's, and the others' hands. The myriad ages wine's fragrance was strong, and he had smelled it from afar. Lu Yiping threw a jug of wine to Ao Bai. Ao Bai quickly caught it. "Thank you, Lord." However, he didn't put it to heart. With his status, what kind of wine hadn't he tasted before? Thus, after opening the jug, he casually took a sip. Just as he took a sip, Ao Bai's eyes widened in disbelief as he looked at the myriad ages wine in his hand. "This wine is..." Ao Bai was shocked. Could there be a golden dragon fruit inside? The four experts behind Ao Bai were stunned. Golden dragon fruit? The golden dragon fruit was a kind of divine dragon fruit found in the divine earth's forbidden land. In the past, their divine country had lost countless experts just to obtain a single golden dragon fruit. Taurus Longjiao chuckled mischievously. Ao Bai immediately stood up, bowing to Lu Yiping in gratitude. "Thank you, Lord Lu, for the wine." At the auction, Ao Bai was young and frivolous, offending Lord Lu, but Lord Lu did not blame me. "Instead, you gave me such a precious wine." Ao Bai is ashamed. Lu Yiping said, "It's just a jug of wine, have a seat." Then, he added, "There should be more than just these few people coming, right?" Ao Bai sat down, answering respectfully, "Yes, there are 100 of us. My father is also here, but I parted ways with my father yesterday. We'll meet again later." Then, he looked at Lu Yiping, asking cautiously, "Is Lord Lu also going to the heavenly steel stronghold?" If Lu Yiping went to the heavenly steel stronghold, there would be even more casualties. "We will go." Lu Yiping put down the book in his hand, saying, "However, we have some matters to attend to, so we need to make a trip to the ancient mystic city first." The few of them continued to chat. The sky gradually brightened. Ao Bai bowed respectfully, then took his leave. "That brat Ao Mingting entered the immemorial dragon tomb. It seems like he wants to use the dragon essence marrow inside to break through." After Ao Bai left, Taurus Longjiao frowned. "He hasn't come out from the immemorial dragon tomb for so many years. Did something happen?" Lu Yiping also fell into deep thought. Ao Mingting was a little snake he adopted in the past. Later, under his guidance, Ao Mingting began to revert to his ancestral form, transforming into a dragon. A while later, Lu Yiping collected his thoughts, got up, and continued on his journey with Taurus Longjiao and the others. Half a day later. Inside a mansion in a certain city, Ao Bai met with his father, Ao Yishuan. Ao Bai told his father about his encounter with Lu Yiping last night, as well as the golden dragon fruit in Lu Yiping's myriad ages wine. Golden dragon fruit? Aoi Xuan was surprised. He received the myriad ages wine, poured a small cup, and took a sip, exclaiming, "It really is the golden dragon fruit." Then, he added, "And it seems like there's also star chaos water." Star chaos water. Aoi was shocked. "That's impossible, right?" Aoi Xuan pondered, "Maybe my judgment was wrong, it should be something similar to star chaos water." He then added, "What is this Lu Yiping's background?" This Lu Yiping, if he really knows our old ancestor, could he be a terrifying existence from the heaven-battling era? Aoi wondered. Before the Holy Devil race, it was Qi Zhantian's era. Like the Holy Devil race, Qi Zhantian dominated an era, invincible in his generation, hence it was called the heaven-battling era. And their old ancestor, Ao Mingting, was a heaven-battling era expert. Heaven-battling era? Aoi Xuan was bewildered. "That's impossible, the heaven-battling era's old antiques, even if they are still alive, their blood essence is almost exhausted, they can't move around like this." "Father, I heard that those old monsters from the lifeless sect have also come to the Jiutian, it seems like they are also here for the sky steel." Aoi said. Aoi Xuan snorted, "If it weren't for the lifeless sect I would have already obtained the 8th-section stupa. When the time comes for the sky steel, I will definitely take revenge." Hee hee. At this time, a sinister sneer sounded. Following that, the dark energy surged, and one figure after another appeared in the sky above the mansion. The entire mansion was completely surrounded. The leader of the group was a skinny old man, devilish aura surging in his eyes as he laughed cruelly. "Want to take revenge? I don't think we need to wait for the sky steel." Chapter 132. Aoi Xuan and Aoi paled seeing the newcomer. Sun Haiyin. Aoi Xuan's voice was solemn. This skinny old man was one of the lifeless sect's overlords, Sun Haiyin. Like zither god Fu Chao, Sun Haiyin was an expert from the Holy Devil era. In the Netherworld prison, the devil race's name was known to the heavens. Just hearing it made people pale. At this time, a series of miserable screams sounded. Aoi Xuan was enraged. These screams belonged to the heavenly dragon divine country's experts he brought here. I'll protect you, kill our way out." Aoi Xuan roared, transforming into his true dragon form. 1,000 zhang long divine dragon appeared above the mansion, its 4 claws slammed into a corner, sending the lifeless sex expert flying. Go. Aoi Xuan roared. Aoi knew this was not the time to hesitate, so he transformed into his true dragon form, flying out from the corner. Sun Haiyin looked at Aoi Xuan and Aoi in their true dragon forms, sneering, "It's been a long time since I've eaten true dragon meat. Everyone, kill. We'll eat true dragon meat later. Drink true dragon's blood." With that said, he leaped into the air, arriving in front of Aoi Xuan in the blink of an eye, striking out with his palm. A giant black palm, accompanied by rolling black waves, slammed into Aoi Xuan's lower abdomen. The moment the black dragon palm struck out, the surroundings felt like they had fallen into an ice cave, covering the surrounding buildings in layers of black ice. Aoi Xuan turned around, his dragon claw slamming out, true dragon force roared. Boom! Aoi Xuan was sent flying, crashing to the ground, crushing numerous buildings. "Father!" Aoi was furious. "I told you to leave." Aoi Xuan roared. "Leave?" Sun Haiyin laughed loudly, "You think you can still escape? All of you from the heavenly dragon divine country will die here today." Aoi Xuan, "If your old man was here, I might have some scruples, but since your old man isn't here today, he can only collect your and your father's corpses." "No, I didn't even get to collect your corpses. I'll kill you all later and eat your flesh and blood." After saying that, he slapped Aoi Xuan again. In other places, the Tianlong divine country's experts were also fighting with the lifeless sex experts. However, the lifeless sex experts were several times more than the Tianlong divine country's experts. Moreover, they had already arranged layers of devil arrays in the surroundings. Therefore, the Tianlong divine country's experts were completely one-sided. Aoi Xuan was a mid-level lord of the dimension, but compared to an overlord like Sun Haiyin, there was still a big gap. Instantly, the sounds of battle shook the heavens. The destructive power swept through the world, and the buildings in the city were reduced to dust. Within the city, all the experts fled in panic. However, overlords like Aoi Xuan and Sun Haiyin were so strong that even peak late-stage heavenly gods couldn't withstand their attacks, not to mention the true God realm, and even disciples who weren't even God realm. Those who were too slow to escape were instantly blasted to smithereens by Aoi Xuan and Sun Haiyin's attacks. Even the families and sex experts in the distant cities fled in fear of being caught in the crossfire. Lu Yiping and the others were unaware of the Tianlong divine country's matters. At this time, they had arrived at the ancient mystic city. The ancient mystic city was one of the oldest cities in the Great Void region. It was also one of the oldest cities in the Jiotian continent. The ancient mystic city had already existed since the ancient times. On the ancient mystic city's mottled walls, fist-sized runes could be seen from time to time. These runes shone brightly under the sunlight. After a short pause, the group entered the ancient mystic city. Although the ancient mystic city was one of the oldest cities in the Great Void region, it was bustling with activity. Inside the city was the Great Void region's largest trading market. After entering the ancient mystic city, Hao Bai led Lu Yiping and the others to the old shop. Inside the city, Yen family and Black Heaven sect's disciples could be seen everywhere. Many of the Black Heaven sect's ancestors came from the Yen family. Hao Bai said, the Saber God's disciple was killed, and the Yen family and Black Heaven sect are still searching for the murderer. Some say that the murderer is still in the Great Void region. Taurus Longjiao chuckled mischievously, with just the Yen family and Black Heaven sect's people, they want to find the murderer. Hao Bai didn't know how to respond. Lord, that old shop is right in front. When they reached the intersection of the market, Hao Bai pointed to the front and led Lu Yiping to the old shop that used to be there. However, when they got closer, Hao Bai was stunned. In the place where the old shop used to be, a large tavern had been built. The tavern's name was Wushuang Tavern. Lu Yiping looked at the Wushuang Tavern in front of him and asked Hao Bai, that old shop was here? Yes, I remember it clearly, it was here. Hao Bai said with certainty. The old shop used to be here, but now the Wushuang Tavern was built here. It seemed like the old shop was bought by the Wushuang Tavern. Let's go in and ask, Lu Yiping said and walked in with Taurus Longjiao and the others. They came to the front desk of the tavern. Are you the person in charge of the Wushuang Tavern? Lu Yiping's gaze fell on a pot-bellied middle-aged man. The other party was very fat, had small eyes, and wore a hat. In the middle of the hat was a very bright piece of jade. It was a rare divine jade. The middle-aged man glanced at Lu Yiping and the others and said with a smile, I am. What business do you have with me, young master? At this time, Hao Bai stepped forward and said, I remember that this was an old shop a few thousand years ago. We're here to look for the old shop's owner. The middle-aged man frowned slightly, then smiled and said, I don't know about that. I'm only the person in charge here. I was transferred here 1,000 years ago to be in charge of this tavern. Lu Yiping said indifferently, you're a disciple of the Gu family. Who was responsible for building this Wushuang Tavern back then? The middle-aged man shook his head, I don't know about that. As I said, I was only transferred here 1,000 years ago to be in charge of this tavern. At this time, a young man wearing the brocade robe of the Gu family's core disciple walked in with two female disciples. Sister Yun, Sister Ting, please come in. Not only this Wushuang Tavern, but all the other Wushuang Taverns in the Great Void region are under my father's control. The young man smiled at the two girls. I'll get 2 VIP cards for you too. In the future, if you want to drink, you can come to my Wuxia tavern. Not only will you be able to enter the VIP rooms, but you'll also be able to drink. Also, all the drinks and dishes will be 20% off. The two girls smiled and said, "Thank you, young Master Gu Linfeng." Gu Linfeng smiled and said, "You're too polite, sisters." After the young man came in, he saw Lu Yiping and the others at the front desk. The Taurus Longjiao was 2 meters tall and had a thick body. Therefore, it was blocking the walkway. Gu Linfeng frowned and asked the pot-bellied middle-aged man, "Who are they?" Seeing that it was Gu Linfeng, the pot-bellied middle-aged man quickly walked out and came to Gu Linfeng, respectfully saying, "Young Master Linfeng, these people came over and said that this was an old shop a few thousand years ago, and they want to find the old shop's owner." Gu Linfeng said, "Since they're not here to drink or eat, let them go. Don't block my way." "Yes." The middle-aged man hurriedly said. Chapter 133. The middle-aged man turned to Lu Yiping and said, "You all heard it, please leave." Lu Yiping looked at the young man. "Gu Linfeng, you said that not only the Wuxia Tavern in the ancient mystic city, but all the Wuxia taverns in the Great Void region are under your father's control, right?" Gu Linfeng confirmed, "That's right, my father is the Gu family's ancestor, Gu Gaoyuan." Gu family's ancestor, Gu Gaoyuan, was the Gu family's leader in the Great Void region. Even some big shots had to be courteous in front of his father. "Then, do you know what happened to that old shop?" Lu Yiping asked nonchalantly. At this time, one of the girls beside Gu Linfeng spoke, "Young Master Linfeng, can we go in now?" Standing at the door made her impatient. Gu Linfeng hurriedly said, "Of course, of course." Then he waved his hand at Lu Yiping, "Why aren't you leaving?" Lu Yiping stood there, asking nonchalantly, "Where did you move the old shop to after you bought it?" Gu Linfeng's face sank when he saw Lu Yiping standing there unmoving, asking about the old shop. "Do you not understand what I mean? I told you to leave." He then introduced the two girls. "This is the Black Sky Sect's Grand Elder Jiang Ting. This is the Yen family's young Miss Yen Ruyan. You're blocking Grand Elder Jiang Ting and young Miss Yen Ruyan's path, do you know that?" Taurus Longjiao stood there, looking at the two girls from head to toe, chuckling mischievously. "These two girls are quite pretty, so you're from the Black Sky Sect and Yen family, sorry for the disrespect." Jiang Ting and Yen Ruyan's brows furrowed. Gu Linfeng's face sank when he saw Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao's nonchalant attitude. Indifferent, he said, "Are you here to cause trouble? If you're here to cause trouble at the Wuxia Tavern, then you've come to the wrong place." Taurus Longjiao glanced at the tavern and said, "This place is located in a bustling area with good business. Most people wouldn't sell their shops. You guys didn't rob them, did you?" Gu Linfeng slapped the middle-aged man's face and said angrily, "Why aren't you calling for help?" The middle-aged man hurriedly summoned all the experts and disciples in the tavern. At this time, there were quite a number of customers in the tavern. They were surprised to see Lu Yiping's group causing trouble at the Wuxia Tavern. Who are these people? How dare they cause trouble at the Wuxia bar? You're courting death, aren't you? Although the Matchless Tavern isn't one of the top 10 Jiutian superpowers, its strength isn't any weaker than the Taiching Sword School and the Black Heaven Sect. Moreover, it has a very good relationship with the Taiching Sword School, the Black Heaven Sect, and the Yen family. Everyone shook their heads. Soon, all the experts and guards of the Wuxia Tavern rushed out. Among these experts, some were direct disciples of the Gu clan, while others were collateral disciples. Some were recruited by the Wuxia Tavern. In the Jiutian, as long as one had money, one could recruit a peak late-stage heavenly god expert, or even a plain lord. Of course, it was extremely difficult to recruit a plain lord, and the price was too high. There were very few things that could tempt a plain lord. Taurus Longjiao glanced at the several hundred experts and guards of the Wushuang Tavern and laughed, just this? Although there were several hundred people, the strongest among them was only an early-stage heavenly god. Moreover, there was only one early-stage heavenly god. In fact, heavenly god experts were considered ancestor-level characters even in some superpowers. Many superpowers only had one heavenly god overseeing their branches. For example, the Guiyuan Sword School's ancestor, Qiu Yu, was only a mid-stage heavenly god. Of course, a mid-stage heavenly god was nothing compared to Taurus Longjiao's group. Hearing this, Gu Linfeng's face darkened, break their legs and throw them out. The early-stage heavenly god from the Wushuang Tavern walked out and stopped in front of Taurus Longjiao, saying coldly, "Please enlighten me." Then, he bent four fingers and pointed at Taurus Longjiao. Tian K Finger. Honorable Tian K's Supreme Finger Technique, Honorable Tian K's ultimate technique to intimidate the Jiutian. Someone exclaimed. Honorable Tian K was also a big shot. This expert from the Wushuang Tavern was his disciple. Jiang Ting and Yen Ruyan were also surprised to see Honorable Tian K's disciple submit to the Wushuang Tavern. Honorable Tian K's reputation in the Jiutian was still very big. However, just as Honorable Tian K's disciple's attack reached Taurus Longjiao, it was blocked by a punch from someone. The person who blocked the attack was none other than Huang Jiu. Honorable Tian K's disciple was pushed back by Huang Jiu's punch, almost falling on the street outside the Wushuang Tavern. Although Honorable Tian K's disciple wasn't weak and his Tian K finger was powerful, Huang Jiu had the immortal golden phoenix physique. His battle strength was comparable to a mid-stage heavenly god or even a peak mid-stage heavenly god. How could Honorable Tian K's disciple withstand his attack? Huang Jiu looked at the other party expressionlessly, "You're not qualified to fight with Lord Shaojin. Beat me first." Everyone was stunned. This young man is also an early-stage heavenly god. His physique is so strong. Is he a super divine beast? Inside the Wushuang Tavern, a young man holding a jade fan exclaimed. Indifferent, Gu Linfeng said, "Activate the firmament divine array." As soon as Gu Linfeng finished speaking, a giant array diagram appeared above the Wushuang Tavern. Layers upon layers of array energy roared out. Firmament divine array. When this Wushuang Tavern was first built, Lord Gu Gaoyuan joined hands with more than a dozen peak late-stage heavenly god realm experts to set up the firmament divine array. Once this array is activated, even peak late-stage heavenly god realm experts won't be able to resist. However, just as the firmament divine array's power was about to reach Lu Yiping's group, Lu Yiping suddenly glanced at the firmament divine array's core above the Wushuang Tavern. With just a glance, the firmament divine array's core above the Wushuang Tavern exploded. Light bloomed high up in the sky like fireworks, lighting up the ancient mystic city. Everyone was dumbfounded. Gu Linfeng was also dumbfounded. What was going on? Why did the firmament divine array's core explode on its own? Everyone was bewildered. Although Lu Yiping had glanced at the firmament divine array's core, no one connected it to Lu Yiping. Taurus Longjiao suddenly raised his hand, pressing Gu Linfeng to the ground. The tavern's floor squeaked from the friction. "Break our legs." Taurus Longjiao said this, picking up Gu Linfeng's head and swinging it to the ground. Chapter 134. The soul-searching ended. Lu Yiping looked at Gu Linfeng with indifferent eyes. In Gu Linfeng's memory, Huang Xiaolong was a scum who had committed many atrocities. Killing an old shop owner, robbing an old shop owner, these kinds of things were considered normal. Many young girls had been ruined by him. Lu Yiping clenched his fist and crushed Huang Xiaolong. Everyone was dumbfounded. The Wushuang Tavern's experts and guards were even more dumbfounded. "All of you have committed a heinous crime, punishable by death." Venerable Tian K's disciple roared in anger, none of you can escape. Not only you, your families, your sects, and everyone related to you will not be able to escape. Taurus Longjiao slapped Venerable Tian Kei's disciple in the face, disappearing from sight. The Wushuang Tavern's experts retreated in fear. For a moment, no one dared to step forward. Lu Yiping's group left the tavern. Jiang Ting and Yan Ruyan also retreated to a safe distance, looking at Lu Yiping with fear in their eyes. Tear down this tavern. Lu Yiping ordered. Lu Yiping's words sent the tavern's customers fleeing in panic. Taurus Longjiao's giant golden retriever swept across the tavern. In an instant, the tavern crumbled to the ground. Lu Yiping's group left the tavern. Looking at the ruined tavern, not only were the Wushuang Tavern's experts dumbfounded, but the other customers were also dumbfounded. This seems to be the first time someone dared to tear down the Wushuang Tavern, right? The Wushuang Tavern had been established for many years, and it flourished all over the Zhoutian cities. Although there were people causing trouble in the Wushuang Tavern, no one had ever dared to tear it down. Disregarding the Wushuang Tavern's relationship with the Taiching Sword School, Black Heaven Sect, and Yen family, just the Wushuang Tavern's strength was terrifying. Moreover, the Wushuang Tavern sage Gu Wushuang was the Lord Holy Devil's disciple in name. Who was the Lord Holy Devil? That was an invincible expert who had suppressed 3 eras. Even though he had left Zhoutian, his supreme holy and demonic aura was still there. Countless experts had followed him back then, and some of them were still alive. These were all antiques comparable to Zither god Fu Chao. Some of the old antiques were now sitting in the Wushuang Tavern's headquarters. I wonder which sect these people are from. A few days ago, someone killed the Knife God's disciple. Now, someone has torn down the Wushuang Tavern and killed a core disciple of the Gu family. Gu Linfeng's father, Gu Gaoyuan, was in charge of the Wushuang Tavern's forces in the Great Void region. One could imagine how high Gu Gaoyuan's status in the Gu family was. Now, his son was dead. This was definitely a heaven-piercing matter. Troubled times in the Great Void domain, the young man with the jade fan said. Some people recognized the identity of the young man with the jade fan. Their faces were filled with fear as they distanced themselves from him. After a while, the young man with the jade fan floated away. The Jade Fan sect has appeared again? One of the family heads asked as he looked at the departing figure of the young man with the jade fan. Jade Fan door. Could it be the Jade Fan sect from the ancient times? Hasn't the Jade Fan sect disappeared for nearly 100,000 years? Disappearance doesn't mean that they're gone forever. These ancient sects will appear every once in a while. It seems like the appearance of the Sky Steel this time has attracted these ancient sects to appear. Jade-faced Wolf Lord, could he still be alive? One of the ancestors suddenly asked. Some ancestors who had heard of Jade-faced Wolf Lord kept quiet out of fear. Jade-faced Wolf Lord was the strongest person in the Jade Fan sect. He was both good and evil, and his methods were cruel. Great Void region, inside the Wushuang Tavern's main hall. Gu Gaoyuan was sipping tea and discussing Dao with the Black Heaven sect's ancestor, Wu Yi. The lunar steel will appear next time. When Brother Wu Yi comprehends the Sky Steel's secret technique, his strength will definitely improve. Gu Gaoyuan smiled. Wu Yi smiled and said, same to you. Your Wushuang Tavern will definitely obtain several greater Sky Steels. Brother Gaoyuan might even comprehend the Sky Steel's secret technique, and his strength will improve faster than mine. The Sky Steel contained countless secret techniques of the Archean Heavenly Court. However, these secret techniques were divided into strong and weak ones. The higher the grade, the better the technique, and the stronger the power. Secret techniques were ranked from high to low, heaven, earth, black, and yellow. Yellow was the lowest, while heaven was the highest. It was extremely difficult to comprehend heaven-rank secret techniques. From the Archean era until now, only one person had managed to comprehend a heaven-rank secret technique from the Sky Steel, and it was only one part. Gu Gaoyuan sighed, it's a pity that our Wushuang old ancestor doesn't care about the secular world. I'm afraid he'll be indifferent to the appearance of the sky steel. Just as Gu Gaoyuan was sighing, his communication talisman vibrated. He took it out and his face turned uglier. In the end, his killing intent soared. Feng er. Gu Gaoyuan screamed, his voice filled with sorrow. Wu Yi was surprised when he saw Gu Gaoyuan's killing intent soaring to the sky after reading the communication talisman. He took the communication talisman from Gu Gaoyuan's hand and his face turned cold. This person is courting death. Wu Yi said coldly. Indifferent, Gu Gaoyuan went on, tearing down my Wushuang tavern, killing my son, I don't care who you are, I want you to die without a burial place. Also, everyone related to you will be buried with my son. Wu Yi asked, Brother Gaoyuan, do you need our Black Sky sect's help? Gu Gaoyuan shook his head, many thanks, Brother Wu Yi, but there's no need for now. Wu Yi nodded. He also knew that with the Wushuang Tavern strength, they didn't need his help. After Lu Yiping left the Wushuang Tavern, he didn't linger in the ancient mystic city. He left the city and headed to the Great Void Region's Blue Sea. Although the old shop owner was killed, his son and grandson were still alive, living in a fishing village in the Blue Sea. Perhaps, his son knew about the Fortune Jade Disc. The Blue Sea wasn't far from the ancient mystic city. With Lu Yiping's group speed, it didn't take long for them to reach the Blue Sea. She came to the shore of Qinghai. She listened to the sound of the waves and felt the sea breeze. She looked at the surface of the sea and the smiling fishermen. She said, this kind of life is peaceful and good. Lu Yiping said, there's no such thing as peace in this world. Where there are people, there are contradictions and conflicts. The group walked to the fishing village. Lu Yiping asked around and headed to the old shop owner's son's residence. The old shop owner Huang Cheng's ancestor was a super sex ancestor. Later, his sect was annihilated, and the Huang family gradually declined. This place was his ancestral home, and it was quite big. The eaves of the house stretched endlessly, covering an area of more than 100 mu. Huang Cheng's son was the Huang family's current patriarch, Huang Jianji. When the Huang family's experts learned that Lu Yiping's group was here to look for their patriarch, they reported to the Huang family's experts and led Lu Yiping's group into the Huang family's ancestral home. Huang Jianji's strength wasn't weak. He was a mid-stage true God realm expert. When he saw Lu Yiping's group, there was obvious suspicion and vigilance in his eyes. Why are you looking for me? Lu Yiping took out the Fortune Jade Disc. When Huang Jianji saw the Fortune Jade Disc in Lu Yiping's hand, he was surprised. World Cleansing Jade. World Cleansing Jade. Lu Yiping noticed that Huang Jianji recognized the jade in his hand and asked, I heard that this jade is your family's heirloom. Do you know the origin of this jade? Chapter 135. When Huang Jianji heard Lu Yiping asking about the origin of the jade, he hesitated. Hao Bai stepped forward and said, I bought this jade from your father, Huang Cheng, several thousand years ago. This is Lord Lu. We came here with no malice, we just want to know the origin of this jade. If you're willing to tell us, we will be grateful. Hao Bai said. Huang Jiao stepped forward and handed Huang Jianji a spatial ring. Inside, there were piles of divine-grade spirit stones, probably several 100 million. The Huang family had declined, but they wouldn't have sold this jade several thousand years ago. When had Huang Jianji ever seen so many divine-grade spirit stones? Therefore, he was shocked when he saw the mountain of divine-grade spirit stones in Huang Jiao's spatial ring. This. Huang Jianji swallowed hard. Frankly speaking, it would be a lie to say that he wasn't tempted in the face of several 100 million divine-grade spirit stones. He hesitated for a moment, then said to Lu Yiping, in fact, I'm not very clear about the origin of this jade. I only know that it's called the world-cleansing jade, passed down from our ancestor, Huang Yuandong. Huang Yuandong. Lu Yiping asked, do you know the identity and deeds of your ancestor Huang Yuandong? Huang Jianji answered, our ancestor Huang Yuandong was one of the Purple Lightning Temple's ancestors more than 100,000 years ago. Purple Lightning Temple. Huang Jiu frowned, the Purple Lightning Temple seemed to have been destroyed more than 100,000 years ago. Huang Jianji nodded. Back then, when the Purple Lightning Palace was destroyed, the outer sect forces of the Purple Lightning Palace were implicated as well. Our Huang clan declined as a result. Originally, our Huang clan still had some properties left behind by old ancestor Huang Yuandong. However, over the years, these properties have been swallowed up by other sections. Speaking of this, Huang Jianji's face turned bitter, his voice filled with hatred. Our old shop in the ancient mystic city was swallowed up by the Wushuang Tavern. My father also died because of it. Gu Linfeng is dead. Lu Yiping said. Huang Jianji was stunned. We just came from the ancient mystic city. My master killed Gu Linfeng. Huang Jiu said. Huang Jianji looked at Lu Yiping in shock. Gu Linfeng was Gu Gaoyuan's son and had many experts around him. Moreover, Gu Linfeng himself was very strong. Lu Yiping said, I believe there will be news from the Great Void region soon. Huang Jianji bowed deeply to Lu Yiping. Thank you, my lord, for avenging my father's death. All these years, how could he not want to kill Gu Linfeng? But with his strength, it was no different from striking a rock with an egg. No need. Lu Yiping shook his head. This kind of scum deserves to die. Even if your father didn't exist, I would still kill him. Afterwards, Lu Yiping asked about Huang Yuandong and the destruction of the Purple Lightning Palace. Huang Jianji told Lu Yiping everything he knew. However, Huang Jianji didn't know much about it, so Lu Yiping didn't know how Huang Yuandong obtained the jade. After staying for a while, Lu Yiping and the others took their leave. Huang Jianji wanted to return the divine grade spirit stone to Lu Yiping, but Lu Yiping asked him to keep it. After leaving, Lu Yiping frowned. According to Huang Jianji, when the Purple Lightning Palace was destroyed back then, from the Patriarch to the Palace Master, everyone in the Purple Lightning Palace was killed. Huang Yuandong had most likely died in that great battle. However, Huang Jianji couldn't be sure if Huang Yuandong had really died. Do you know who destroyed the Purple Lightning Palace? Lu Yiping asked Huang Jiu. I think it was the Jade Fan Gate. Huang Jiu recalled, it was the Jade Fan Gate's Jade-faced Wolf Lord. Jade-faced Wolf Lord. Lu Yiping repeated. If they could find Jade-faced Wolf Lord, they might be able to confirm whether Huang Yuandong was dead or not. I've heard of Jade-faced Wolf Lord. He's neither good nor evil, and his methods are cruel. If you offend him, not only will you die, but those related to him will also be implicated. He was one of the top 10 experts of the Heaven Battling era. His sect, the Jade Fan Gate, rarely appears, but every time it does, something big will happen. However, with the appearance of the Heavenly Steel this time, the Jade Fan Gate might appear as well. Lu Yiping took out his communication talisman and contacted Chu Tong, asking him to use the Guiyuan Sword School's influence to investigate the Purple Lightning Palace's Huang Yuandong and Jade-faced Wolf Lord. Soon after, the group headed towards the Heavenly Steel. The Great Void region was one of the two largest regions in the Jiotian continent. Although the Heavenly Steel was located in the Great Void region, it was located in the extreme north. Therefore, it was quite far from the Blue Sea. However, there were still many days before the Heavenly Moon Steel's appearance. There was ample time, so Lu Yiping's group was in no hurry, taking their time. When they passed by a town, everyone was talking about the destruction of the unparalleled tavern and Gu Linfeng's death. Recently, the Great Void region's various forces have gathered, it's becoming more chaotic. Have you heard? The Divine Land's Heavenly Dragon Divine Country and Nether Prison's Lifeless Sect also came to the Jyotian. Moreover, the Heavenly Dragon Divine Country was besieged by the Lifeless Sect's experts. The Lifeless Sect's old ancestor, Lord Sun Hien, made a move. The Heavenly Dragon Divine Country's 100 experts were wiped out. Even the Heavenly Dragon Divine Country's ruler, Aoi Xuan, failed to escape. Impossible, the Heavenly Dragon Divine Country's ruler is dead. The Heavenly Dragon Divine Country is one of the Divine Land's top 10 super forces. So what if it's one of the top 10 super forces? How could the Heavenly Dragon Divine Country's ruler be Sun Hien's opponent? I heard that Lord Sun Hien slaughtered the Heavenly Dragon Divine Country's ruler, even his dragon flesh was eaten clean. This is too ruthless. The Heavenly Dragon Divine Country's ruler was a giant, I didn't expect him to meet such a tragic end. Everyone shook their heads. In the Divine Land, Jyotian, and Netherworld Prison, early and mid-stage Lords of Plains were considered giants. Only late-stage and peak late-stage Lords of Plains could be considered as overlords. Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao were stunned. Is what you said true? Lu Yiping asked. The person who spoke glanced at Lu Yiping and said, many people saw it. At this time, a figure fell from the sky, crashing onto the street in the distance. The person was covered in blood. Judging from his appearance, it was a young man. After falling to the ground, the young man struggled to get up and staggered towards the crowd. Chapter 136. It's the Lifeless Sect's people. Run. When the experts around Lu Yiping saw the person in the sky, they all fled in fright, running as far away as they could. The Lifeless Sect. Ranked second among the Nether Purgatory's top 10 super forces. In an instant, Lu Yiping's surroundings were emptied out. Ao Bai was both shocked and angered when he saw the newcomers. Along the way, if he hadn't used the Sky Dragon Divine Country's invisible dragon talisman, he would have been dead. Even so, the other party was still hot on his heels. The four Lifeless Sect's people landed in front of Lu Yiping. The four people looked at Ao Bai. The old man in the lead looked at Ao Bai and licked his lips. Although your true dragon body is tender, not as thick as your father's skin, the texture should be better. He then turned to the other three people beside him. What do you guys say, should we roast it or tear it raw and eat it piece by piece? Or should we get a super big pot and cook it slowly? The other three people laughed heartily. At this time, Taurus Longjiao suddenly reached out. His palm enlarged and slapped at the old man in the lead. Seeing Taurus Longjiao actually dared to attack him, the old man couldn't help laughing. Brat, it's fine if you meddle in other people's business, but you dare to attack me? Do you know how the word death is written? Then, the old man's world force surged and his palm met Taurus Longjiao's attack. The old man in the lead was a master of a plane. Moreover, he was a master of a plane who had cultivated the power of 3,600,000 fighting planes. Because of this, even though Ao Bai had used the invisible dragon talisman all the way, the old man was still hot on his heels. Black waves rolled on his palm, whimpering like the cries of evil spirits. Black ghost poisonous heart palm. Lord Shaojin, don't touch it. Ao Bai was alarmed. The black ghost poisonous heart palm was the Nether Purgatory's famous supreme devil palm. To cultivate this palm, one needed to enter a land of evil spirits and absorb the evil spirits' souls and cold corpse poison's aura all year round. The poison contained in this palm was extremely terrifying. If touched, the poison would spread to the whole body in an instant, evil spirits would plague the body and corpse poison would attack the heart. However, just as Ao Bai finished his words, Taurus Longjiao's palm collided with his opponent's. Bang! There was a loud explosion. In an instant, the old man from the Death Door sect felt a terrifying force colliding with him. His arm shook violently, and his entire arm shattered inch by inch. As for him, he flew out like a floating leaf. By the time he landed, the Death Door Sect's elder's right arm had already turned into a bloody mist, splattering all over his body and face. The other three from the Death Door sect were dumbfounded. Ao Bai was also stunned. Taurus Longjiao pulled the man in front of him and said with a smile, "I really don't know how to write the word death. Does that mean you know?" The old man looked at Taurus Longjiao in shock. This muscular man from the Golden Retriever was actually a mid-level planar master. Even if he wasn't in the mid-level, he was at the peak of the early level. Then, he sneered, "So what if you're stronger than me? When you exchanged blows with me just now, the corpse poison of my black ghost poisonous heart palm has already seeped into your palm. Soon, the corpse poison will attack your heart. Do you know what it feels like to have a corpse poison attack your heart?" "Heart attack," Taurus Longjiao said with a smile. "Is that so?" Then he looked down at his right palm. Taurus Longjiao's right hand was smooth and clean. "You're fine," the old man said in disbelief. "The most terrifying blood poison god transforming palm in the hell of Mahanata," Taurus Longjiao said coolly. "I've already taken on the blood poison god transforming palm. Your black ghost venom heart palm's corpse poison isn't even a billionth of the blood poison god transforming palm's power." However, the four experts from the Death Door sect didn't believe Taurus Longjiao's bullshit. One of the experts from the Death Door sect stepped forward and looked at Taurus Longjiao in shock. "Your Excellency, may I ask who you are? Please let Sir Miao go. This is a private matter between the Death Door sect and the Heavenly Dragon Divine Kingdom. Please, Your Excellency, don't interfere." Taurus Longjiao clenched his fist, and the old man from the Death Door sect felt a terrifying pressure weighing down on him. His body began to crack open, and blood sprayed out of him. In the end, the old man was crushed to death. Ao Bai gulped. The other three experts from the Death Door sect were both shocked and enraged. "Kill them all," Lu Yiping said. Taurus Longjiao flicked his finger, and 3 beams of light shot out, killing the 3 experts from the Death Door sect. Lu Yiping's palm glowed with a green light, which he sent into Ao Bai's body. Instantly, Ao Bai felt his life force surge, and his injuries began to heal. "Where's your father?" Lu Yiping asked. "Take me to him." Ao Bai gave him a location. Lu Yiping had Taurus Longjiao and the others wait for him there. Then, he took Ao Bai and tore through space, disappearing into the void in the blink of an eye. Together with Ao Bai, Lu Yiping strode through the chaos turbulence. Ao Bai looked at the chaotic space turbulence in front of him, feeling the terrifying power, and was dumbfounded. "Lord, is this chaotic space turbulence?" Ao Bai asked weakly. Lu Yiping grunted in acknowledgement, then walked out from the chaotic space turbulence. Ao Bai looked around and saw that they had arrived above the city where the Heavenly Dragon Divine Kingdom was besieged. Lu Yiping looked at the destroyed city, a frown creasing his brows. The entire city was in ruins, and occasionally, there were bloodstains. These bloodstains contained the dragon chi of the Dragon Clan's experts, and some were the blood of the Death Door sect's experts. However, there were no Death Door sect or Heavenly Dragon Divine Kingdom's experts. Ao Bai regained his senses, looking at the ruined city and the empty city, he cried out in sorrow, "Father." Although he did not see his father's body, he was afraid that his father's fate was grim. Lu Yiping and Ao Bai walked around the city for a long time, but they still didn't see any traces of the lifeless sect and Tianlong Divine Country's people. The eye of lightning punishment appeared on his forehead, surging with lightning as it scanned through the layers of space, but there was still nothing. Although his strength was invincible, he was not omnipotent. Therefore, he could not deduce the whereabouts of the Heavenly Dragon Divine Kingdom's experts. If he was omnipotent, he could deduce it from the Fortune Jade Disk's fragments. After searching for a while and finding nothing, Lu Yiping stopped. Ao Bai's face was filled with grief and despair, as if all his strength had been sucked out. Lu Yiping said, "Don't worry, as long as your father is still alive, I will save him. Bai knelt before Lu Yiping, thanking him profusely. Come on, let's go back first. Lu Yiping brought Bai back, tearing through the void, following the original path. Taurus Longjiao saw Lu Yiping and Bai returning, but did not see any other heavenly dragon divine kingdoms experts. He couldn't help asking Lu Yiping. Lu Yiping shook his head. Lu Yiping took out his communication talisman, contacting Chu Tong, asking him to inquire about the Death Door sect and the Heavenly Dragon Divine Kingdom's Emperor. Then, the group left for the Jotian's largest information-gathering organization, the Misty Pavilions branch. Lu Yiping asked the Misty Pavilions help to inquire about the Death Door sect and the Heavenly Dragon Divine Kingdom's Emperor, as well as Huang Yuandong and Jade-Faced Wolf Lord. Chapter 137. Of course, the price for information about the lifeless sect, Heavenly Dragon Divine Nation's ruler, Huang Yuandong, and Jade-Faced Wolf Lord was exorbitant. However, this small amount of money was nothing to Lu Yiping. Moreover, Lu Yiping increased the price by 10 times, ordering the Floating Mist Pavilion to mobilize all of their forces in the next 2 days to look for the information he entrusted them with. After leaving the contact information, Lu Yiping and the others left the Floating Mist Pavilion's branch. Master, since the lifeless sect came to the Jotian for the Heavenly Steel, they will definitely go to the Heavenly Steel when it appears next month. Taurus Longjiao said. Lu Yiping nodded his head. The group continued to head towards the Heavenly Steel Town. While Lu Yiping and the others were heading towards the Heavenly Steel Town, in the Taiching Sword School's main hall, Zhang Sangchong was listening to a report from the Taiching Sword School's sect master, Si Yun. Previously, when Zither god Fu Chao was suppressed by a mysterious person, Zhang Sangchong ordered Si Yun and the others to investigate if it was really Lu Yiping who did it. Now, Si Yun was reporting the results of his investigation to him. Oh, you're saying that when Zither god Fu Chao was suppressed by the Buddha Palm, Lu Yiping was in the Azure God region's Wind Thunder Manor's Lake City, and not at the Guiyuan Sword School? Zhang Sangchong asked. Yes, Si Yun said respectfully. Now, we can be certain that the mysterious expert was not Lu Yiping. Zhang Sangchong relaxed inwardly. Previously, he had thought that it was Lu Yiping, but now that he was certain that Lu Yiping was in the Azure God region's Wind Thunder Manor, the person who did it was definitely not Lu Yiping. The Guiyuan Sword School was in the Azure Cloud Manor, while Lu Yiping was in the Wind Thunder Manor. The distance between the two places was countless miles. However, we still haven't found out who did it. Si Yun said. Continue investigating, Zhang Sangchong said. Si Yun nodded and said, we found out that Lu Yiping is currently in the Supreme Void region. He just killed the son of the Supreme Void region's Gu Gaoyuan and destroyed the matchless tavern in the ancient mystic city. Zhang Sangchong was surprised and muttered, this Lu Yiping has appeared in the Great Void region for the Heavenly Steel. Is Chu Tong with him? Si Yun shook his head. That's not true. The Divine Monument is about to appear. Let's get ready. It's time for us to go to the Divine Monument town, Zhang Sangchong said. What if we run into Lu Yiping? Si Yun asked. Zhang Sangchong narrowed his eyes, let the Qin and Painting School and Wushuang Tavern deal with him first, then we'll act according to the situation. No matter what, we can't let Lu Yiping leave Sky Monument Town alive. Several days passed. Lu Yiping and the others arrived at a small town. There was a huge stone tablet erected at the entrance of the town. Divine Monument Town. There were 3 words written on the tablet. The words were carved by someone with finger force. They were vigorous and powerful, containing supreme power as if they could tear the sky apart. Lu Yiping looked at the quiet town in front of him. This was the Divine Monument Town. The Divine Monument Town wasn't big, but it was famous in the Jotian. There was a mysterious power in this town. It was this mysterious power that protected this town. Even if the Plain Lord attacked, this town wouldn't be damaged in the slightest. Huang Jiu said, everyone says that this tablet was left behind by the Heavenly Emperor. These 3 words were carved by the Heavenly Emperor. People often stand in front of this tablet to comprehend the supreme power in these 3 words. Lu Yiping said, the supreme power in these 3 words isn't that easy to comprehend. Because the difference between the 2 realms was too great. Too great to be measured. But this tablet wasn't left behind by the Heavenly Emperor. Lu Yiping said while looking at the tablet. Not left behind by the Heavenly Emperor. Huang Jiu, Hao Bai, and Ao Bai were surprised. Taurus Longjiao said, these 3 words are indeed very powerful, but they were definitely not carved by the Heavenly Emperor. The Heavenly Emperor's power is far greater than this. Huang Jiu, Hao Bai, and Ao Bai were dumbfounded. They didn't understand why Taurus Longjiao was so sure that the Heavenly Emperor's power was far greater than this. After stopping for a while, Lu Yiping and the others entered the Divine Monument town. The stones on the ground of the sky steel suppressing ground were uneven. Every stone had a strange pattern on it, and between these patterns, there were characters that were faintly formed. But upon closer inspection, they couldn't tell what kind of characters they were. The town was exceptionally quiet, as if the whole town was in a deep slumber, and had yet to awaken. Since the Divine Monument town was about to appear, many Jyotian experts from various regions had arrived. In some corners, experts were chatting, but the strange thing was, no matter how loud their voices were, the town remained quiet. There was a kind of energy that seemed to filter out the experts' voices. After Lu Yiping's group entered the town, many of the town's experts looked at Lu Yiping and whispered in each other's ears. He's Lu Yiping. That's right, I saw him during the Guiyuan Sword School's General Assembly. At that time, he was competing with Goddess Su Qiaoyin on the zither. What a pity, Goddess Su Qiaoyin and the people from the Qin and Painting School should be arriving soon. Voices of discussion sounded. Lu Yiping's expression was calm. Inside the town, there were scattered buildings and houses. There were natives in the Divine Monument town. But there weren't many, only a few dozen households. Some people said that the natives of the Divine Monument town were descendants of the immemorial Celestial Emperor. Of course, not many people believed this. Lu Yiping's group arrived at the center of the Divine Monument town. In the center of the Divine Monument town was a large square. When the Divine Monument appeared, it would rise from the ground of the square. At this time, the empty space near the Divine Monument had been occupied by many experts. Only a few empty spaces were still empty. Lu Yiping led the group to one of the empty spaces. When the surrounding experts saw this, they all had strange expressions on their faces. Because that empty space used to be occupied by the Qin and Painting School. In the past, when the Divine Monument appeared, the experts from the Qin and Painting School would occupy that empty space. This time, the experts from the Qin and Painting School hadn't arrived yet. If that empty space didn't belong to the Qin and Painting School, the other experts would have already occupied it. That empty space belongs to the Qin and Painting School. Now that Lu Yiping has occupied it, there will be a good show to watch. Someone whispered. Hearing the whispers, Huang Jiu said, so this empty space was reserved for the Qin and Painting School. Lu Yiping's expression was normal as he followed the group to the empty space. Then, he took out a few Chaos Divine stones and condensed them into a stone table and a few stone stools. He sat down with Taurus Longjiao, then took out the Age of Eternity wine and drank it. Is that a Chaos Divine stone? The surrounding crowd was shocked and they saw Lu Yiping condensing the stone table and stools. It's fake, right? Someone didn't believe it. Amidst the crowd's chatter, a large group of experts walked into the Divine Monument town from afar. When the crowd saw the newcomers, their faces were filled with fear and they immediately quieted down. The newcomers were experts from the Kunpeng Divine sect. Someone recognized the Kunpeng Divine sect master, Fei Jie. But this time, Fei Jie was unusually respectful as he followed behind a tall and sturdy old man. "It's Lord Lei Yu," a super sect's founder said with a trembling voice. Those who didn't recognize the old man were so frightened that their legs went soft. Chapter 138. Lei Yu. In the Holy Devil era, there was another name for him, Lightning Ancestor. Although Zither god Fu Chao had ascended to godhood in the Tao of Zither, and his name resounded throughout the Jiutian, he wasn't one of the top 10 experts in the Holy Devil era. On the other hand, Lightning Ancestor Lei Yu was one of the top 10 experts in the Holy Devil era. According to the records, when the Lightning Ancestor was enraged, lightning would flood the entire Jiutian. This meant that if the Lightning Ancestor was enraged, the entire Jiutian would be drowned in lightning. One could see the Lightning Ancestor's might. "Greetings, Lord Lightning Ancestor, Lord Fei Jie." The group of Super Forces ancestors paled as they hurried forward, lowering their heads in greeting. These were all Jiutian's powerhouses. Some of them were early world lords, while others were mid-stage world lords. But in front of the Lightning Ancestor Lei Yu, all of them had to lower their heads. Some Heavenly God Realm and True God Realm experts even knelt down. Those who came to the Heavenly Steel were all True God Realm experts and above. The appearance of the Heavenly Steel brought with it boundless heavenly might. Those below the True God Realm, emperors, and ancient emperors were unable to withstand this heavenly might. Thus, none of them dared to come. Looking at the group of experts kneeling and bowing, Lei Yu smiled warmly. "I haven't come out for many years, there's no need to be so restrained. Rise." The group of ancestors, patriarchs, and True God Realm experts rose to their feet. Lei Yu, Fei Jie, and the rest led the Kunpeng Divine Sex experts to an empty space at the side of the central plaza. There were several empty spaces at the side of the plaza, and the largest one belonged to the Kunpeng Divine Sect. The Kunpeng Divine Sex experts marched towards the largest empty space. This time, the Kunpeng Divine Sect had brought 30 world lords. 1,000 heavenly gods. Ordinary super forces would only have 1 or 2 world lords, but the Kunpeng Divine Sect had brought 30 of them. This was the strength of the Jiutian's #1 sect. But everyone present knew that this was only a small portion of the Kunpeng Divine Sect's strength. Some said that even if the Qin and Painting School, Black Heaven Sect, Tai Ching Sword School, Yen Tribe, Stone Golem Tribe, Heavenly Beast Sect, Shimi Buddhist Sect, 100 Change Sect, and Guiyuan Sword School combined, they couldn't even compare to the Kunpeng Divine Sect. Lei Yu, Fei Jie, and the rest walked towards the empty space of the Kunpeng Divine Sect. When they passed by the empty space of the Qin and Painting School, they saw a blue-robed young man sitting there, drinking by himself. One of the Kunpeng Divine Sect's heavenly divinity stepped forward, greeting Lei Yu and Fei Jie respectfully. "Old Ancestor, Sect Chief, he is Lu Yiping." Oh! Lei Yu was surprised. He looked at Lu Yiping again, and when he saw Lu Yiping's stone table and stool, he couldn't help but exclaim, "Chaos Divine Stone." Fei Jie was also surprised. "Ancestor, you've come in person, but this Lu brat is still sitting there drinking. He's incomparably arrogant. Should we teach him a lesson?" A mid-stage planar lord stepped forward and asked Lei Yu respectfully. Lei Yu replied indifferently, "There's no need for that. He's just a junior who doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Someone will teach him a lesson." He then led Kunpeng Zhongzhong's group to the empty space of the Kunpeng Divine Sect. Kunpeng Zhongzhong's group hurriedly took out a stone table and a stone stool made from Golden Dawn stone for Lei Yu and Fei Jie to sit down. Then, they poured wine for Lei Yu and Fei Jie. This Lu Yiping only dares to occupy the empty space of the Qin and Painting School. He doesn't dare to take even half a step into our Kunpeng Divine Sect's territory. It seems like he's quite tactful. One of the Kuan-Ping divine sect's ancestors laughed. Our Kuan-Ping divine sect is not something he dares to provoke. At this time, a small commotion broke out in the crowd as another group of experts walked into Stone Steel Town. The newcomers were from the Qin and Painting School. The experts from the Qin and Painting School were all dressed in white, exuding a scholarly aura. However, the middle-aged man leading the group was dressed differently from the other experts from the Qin and Painting School. He wore a black armor with a demon god engraved on it. The Qin and Painting School's sect master, Hua Rushing, followed behind him respectfully. Demonic Zither. The older generation's ancestors were shocked and they saw the middle-aged man in black armor. Who is the demonic Zither? Some of the patriarchs were puzzled. He's the senior brother of the Zither god, Fu Chao. His strength is above Fu Chao's. One of the ancestors said with a solemn expression. Those who had never heard of the demonic Zither were shocked. Doesn't that mean that the demonic Zither is comparable to the 10 great experts of the Holy Devil era? Someone asked. Amidst the crowd's shock, the demonic Zither led the experts from the Qin and Painting School to the square in the middle of Stone Steel Town. Just as the experts from the Qin and Painting School entered Stone Steel Town, another group of experts arrived. It was the Black Heaven sect, the Matchless Tavern, the Yen family, and the Taiching Sword School. Ji Tian, Qing Xuanlong, Yen Meng, Zhong Sangchong. Many of the ancestors exclaimed when they saw the 4 people at the front. Ji Tian was the legendary figure of the Black Heaven sect. Qing Xuanlong was from the Matchless Tavern. Yen Meng was the grandfather of the Yen family's current patriarch. Zhong Sangchong was needless to say. The Black Heaven sect and the Taiching Sword School were the 3rd and 4th superpowers in Zhoutian. The Matchless Tavern was the #1 tavern in Zhoutian, and the Yen family was the #1 family in the Great Void region. No matter who it was, they would be shocked to see the 4 super forces joining forces. Even the demonic Zither, who had just entered the Qin and Painting School, stopped. Who is Qing Xuanlong? Someone asked. Many of them had heard of Ji Tian, Yen Meng, and Zhong Sangchong, but they had never heard of the name Qing Xuanlong. One of the ancestors said with a solemn expression, he was one of the Lord Holy Demon's generals in the past. Speaking of the Lord Holy Demon, the ancestor couldn't hide his excitement and admiration. The Holy Demon had been invincible for 3 eras. With a stomp of his foot, the Zhoutian trembled. No matter who it was, they couldn't hide their excitement and admiration when the Holy Demon was mentioned. During the Holy Demon's era, even the powerful Kuan-Ping divine sect had to retreat. This was the Holy Demon's might. What, a general under the Lord Holy Demon? The patriarchs and ancestors were shocked. The Holy Demon was invincible in the Zhoutian, the Divine Land, and the Netherworld prison. Wherever he went, he was invincible. Naturally, not just anyone could serve under him. To be able to become a general under him, one had to be extremely powerful. In an instant, the way everyone looked at Qing Xuanlong changed. In their eyes, even Ji Tian, Yen Meng, and Zhong Sangchong couldn't compare to Qing Xuanlong. This was because Qing Xuanlong was a general under the Lord Holy Demon. Just based on this, it was enough for him to be above Ji Tian, Yen Meng, and Zhong Sangchong. Gu Gaoyuan and other Wushuang Tavern's experts followed behind Qing Xuanlong. So many strong characters came for the Heavenly Steel's appearance this time. When the Heavenly Steel appears, I think it's better for us to hide further away. These big shots, even if it was just the aftermath of their attacks, it wasn't something an ordinary plain lord could withstand. After the Zither Devil stopped, Ji Tian, Yen Meng, Qing Xuanlong, and Zhong Sangchong caught up to him. He took a step forward and cupped his fists at Qing Xuanlong, brother Wushuang. He only addressed Qing Xuanlong, not Ji Tian, Yen Meng, or Zhong Sangchong. Perhaps, in his heart, only Qing Xuanlong was worthy enough for him to stop and greet him. Chapter 139. Ji Tian, Yen Meng, and Zhang Sangchong were displeased when they saw Absolute Zither Devil greeting Qing Wushuang, but they did not show it on their faces. Qing Xuanlong did not act arrogantly, cupping his fists at Absolute Zither Devil, so it's Brother Mo Ju. After so many years, Brother Mo Ju's style is even better than before. Absolute Zither Devil revealed a smile. Brother Wushuang is overpraising me. He then made an inviting gesture. Brother Wushuang, please. Please. Qing Xuanlong smiled, then said to Ji Tian, Yen Meng, and Zhang Sangchong, 3 brothers, please. Please. Ji Tian, Yen Meng, and Zhang Sangchong hurriedly said. While the several big shots were talking, Gu Gaoyuan, Hua Rusheng, Chu Yun, and Chen Shiming did not dare to interrupt. Subsequently, the Wushuang Bar, Qin and Painting School, Black Heaven Sect, Taiching Sword School, and Yen Family, these 5 super forces headed towards the square in the center of Stone Tablet Town. Moments later, Absolute Zither Devil, Qing Xuanlong, Ji Tian, Yen Meng, and Zhang Sangchong arrived at the square. However, when they arrived, they saw a blue-robed young man sitting on the empty ground of the Qin and Painting School, drinking by himself. They were stunned. What was going on? Did this young man not know that was the empty ground of the Qin and Painting School? When Qing Xuanlong saw Lu Yiping's figure, he felt a sense of familiarity. Suddenly, he shuddered as a figure appeared in his mind from a distant memory. His eyes widened. That year, he was lucky enough to follow the Holy Devil and sneak a peek at that forbidden existence. He only saw the forbidden existence's back and did not see his face. Thus, when he looked at Lu Yiping, he was bewildered. Was it that lord? However, he was not certain. Throw him away. Absolute Zither Devil ordered. At this time, one of the Qin and Painting School's patriarchs stepped forward and said, Lord Mo Ju, this person is Lu Yiping. Lu Yiping. Whether it was demonic Zither, Zhang Sangchong, Ji Tian, Yen Meng, or the other experts, they were all surprised. So it's him. Demonic Zither's face darkened. During these past few days, they had already investigated clearly. When Zither god Fu Chao was suppressed by the Buddha's palm, Lu Yiping was in Wind Thunder Manor in the Firmament Divine region. So, they were certain that it wasn't Lu Yiping who did it. When Gu Gaoyuan heard that the young man in front of him was Lu Yiping, his eyes burned with anger and killing intent. He had already found out that the young man who had killed his son was Lu Yiping. Gu Gaoyuan stepped forward and spoke respectfully to Qing Xuanlong, Lord, this person killed my son, destroyed my ancient mystic city's Wushuang Tavern, and treated my Wushuang Tavern as nothing. Lord, please allow us to take action and kill this person. Qing Xuanlong hesitated. At this time, the Taiching Sword School's Zhang Sangchong stepped forward and looked at Lu Yiping with an indifferent gaze. Lu Yiping, I didn't expect you to have the guts to come to the Heavenly Steel Town. Lu Yiping didn't even look at Zhang Sangchong as he asked indifferently, why wouldn't I dare to come? Zhang Sangchong sneered, more than 100 experts from my Taiching Sword School, Qin Huai, were killed by the Guiyuan Sword School's Chu Tong, and all of them died because of you. You're wrong, Taurus Longjiao suddenly interrupted, your Taiching Sword School's more than 100 experts were killed by me. Zhang Sangchong and the others were surprised. All this time, they had thought that Qin Huai's 100 experts were killed by Chu Tong, Feng Wen, and the others. It's you. Zhang Sangchong and the others from the Taiching Sword School looked at Taurus Longjiao in shock. Everyone looked over and saw a stone stele slowly rising from the ground in the center of the square. The stone stele shone so brightly that everyone couldn't open their eyes. Even ordinary plain lords were no exception. This was the heavenly steel's main stele. Lei Yu, the Zither demon lord, Zhang Sangchong, and the rest looked at the main stele with burning eyes. Lei Yu laughed loudly. My main stele has finally appeared. The main stele continued to rise. The light grew stronger. In the end, it finally stopped when it reached a height of nearly 4.9 meters. Everyone looked at the main stele and saw words flowing on it. However, they couldn't see it clearly. There was a mysterious energy that enveloped the heavenly stele. One could only see it when they were 1 meter away. The further away they were, the less clear it was. Lei Yu excitedly walked towards the main stele. However, just as he was about to walk towards the main stele, someone beat him to it and stood in front of it. Everyone looked at the blue-robed figure standing in front of the main stele with a strange expression on their faces. Chapter 140. Before Lei Yu, Lu Yiping stood in front of the main monument. Zhu Mo, Zhang Sangchong, Gu Gaoyuan, and the rest sneered when they saw Lu Yiping standing in front of the main monument before Lei Yu. This Lu Yiping actually dared to snatch the main monument from the Kunpeng divine sect. He was simply courting death. Lei Yu's face was extremely cold. When the heavenly monument appeared, the main monument and the 9 monuments around it always belonged to the Kunpeng divine sect. This was common knowledge in the Jiutian world. Moreover, he had just declared that whoever dared to snatch the main monument and the 9 monuments around it shouldn't blame the Kunpeng divine sect for turning hostile. Now, this Lu Yiping actually dared to snatch the main monument from him. What was this? Did he treat his words like a fart? Just as Lei Yu's face was filled with killing intent, the Kunpeng divine sect chief Fei Jia suddenly exploded, punching towards Lu Yiping's back. Surnamed Lu, scram. Someone like you dares to covet my Kunpeng divine sect's things. When his fist punched out, the world energy roared. 50 million units. Zhu Mo's face turned solemn when he felt the Kunpeng divine sect chief Fei Jia's strength. Zhang Sangchong, Ji Tian, Yen Meng, and the rest of the Jiutian divine sect's forces were shocked. When one's world energy broke through 30 million units, they would reach the late stage of the Lord of a World, and they would be considered one of the Jiutian's overlords. During the Holy Devil era, the Zither god Fu Chao only had 40 million units of world energy. And this Kunpeng divine sect chief Fei Jia actually had 50 million units of world energy. It was 10 million units higher than Fu Chao's. The further one cultivated, the harder it was to raise one's world energy. Moreover, the further one cultivated, the greater the disparity in battle power. Even if it was only 41 million units of world energy, it was still much stronger than 40 million units, not to mention 50 million units. Thus, the Kunpeng divine sect chief Fei Jia's strength was not something Fu Chao could compare to. Fei Jia was hailed as the Jiutian's #1 expert of this generation. This was the absolute strength of the #1 person in Jiutian. Just as Fei Jia's fist was about to hit Lu Yiping, a figure suddenly appeared in front of Fei Jia. Everyone was stunned. The person standing between Fei Jia and Lu Yiping was none other than Taurus Longjiao. Zhang Sangchong sneered, "A mere slave dares to stand in the way of a Jiutian overlord? You overestimate yourself." Taurus Longjiao had killed Qin Huai from the Taiqing sword school. He might have some strength, but Qin Huai only had 1 million units of planar energy. Now, Taurus Longjiao's attempt to block Fei Jia's ultimate attack was no different from a snail trying to stop a chariot. It would be crushed into pieces in an instant. Indifferent smiles appeared on Fei Jia's face when he saw that it was Taurus Longjiao who was standing in front of him. He increased his strength by a notch. He was the #1 person in Jiutian. How could a mere slave challenge him? Taurus Longjiao chuckled when he sensed that Fei Jia's strength had increased again. He punched out. When he smashed his fist forward, everyone noticed that numerous cracks had actually appeared in the space before him. It was as if an incomparably thick wall had begun to crack. Immediately, Taurus Longjiao's fist began to spin at an astonishing speed like a vortex. First revolution. The space in the square began to spin. Everyone felt as if they were being twisted. Second revolution. The space was twisted into a lump like a piece of clothing. Everyone felt the terrifying twisting of the space around them. It was extremely uncomfortable. Everyone turned pale with fright. They hurriedly activated their planar energy to resist the twisting of space. Qing Xuanlong watched Taurus Longjiao's twisting fist. Amidst his shock, his face was filled with excitement. This is... However, he was still unsure. His eyes widened. At this moment, Taurus Longjiao's fist force changed again. Third revolution. The space was twisted again. It actually made a creaking sound. It was as if it was something that was about to be broken. Fourth revolution, fifth revolution, sixth revolution, seventh revolution, and eighth revolution. Finally, the ninth revolution. When it was the ninth revolution, the space creaked loudly. Everyone seemed to have an illusion that the space had been twisted apart. The surrounding people already had to endure such a terrifying twisting force, let alone Fei Jie. Fei Jie's eyes widened as he felt the terrifying force. His expression changed completely. Especially Taurus Longjiao's fist. It reminded him of one of the Holy Demon Lord's ultimate techniques. Taurus Longjiao's fist force instantly shattered Fei Jie's fist force without any hesitation. The terrifying force surged towards Fei Jie. Fei Jie panicked. A huge shield flew out from his body. This was the Kunpeng Divine Sect's Heavenly Wall shield. It meant that it was indestructible. This Heavenly Wall shield wasn't a supreme divine artifact. It was an acquired spiritual treasure that surpassed supreme divine artifacts. At the same time, a divine armor covered Fei Jie's body. This divine armor was the Kunpeng Divine Sect's inherited divine artifact. It was also an acquired spiritual treasure that surpassed supreme divine artifacts. Finally, a thick layer of scales grew on Fei Jie's body. This was the power of the Kunpeng bloodline. Boom! The Heavenly Wall shield was hit by Taurus Longjiao's fist force. It paused for a moment and shattered into countless pieces. Then, the fist force landed on Fei Jie's body. The acquired spiritual treasure divine armor was also pierced through. The terrifying force blasted into Fei Jie's body. It was a force that could destroy heaven and earth. It crazily destroyed his internal organs. When Fei Jie landed outside the square and smashed into the ground, his chest was completely pierced through, and his internal organs were completely gone. Fei Jie lay there, motionless. There was blood everywhere. It was the blood of the strongest person in the Jiutian generation. Looking at Fei Jie's body on the ground, everyone turned to look at Taurus Longjiao in shock. Fei Jie, who had 50 million battle planes worth of energy and 2 acquired spiritual treasures, was still unable to withstand a single punch from Lu Yiping's subordinate. Even after using the power of the Kunpeng bloodline, Fei Jie was still half dead. 9 Revolutions Emptiness Fist. Lei Yu and Demonic Zither looked at Taurus Longjiao in shock. Both of them were shocked by Taurus Longjiao's strength, but they were even more shocked by Taurus Longjiao's fist technique. 9 Revolutions Emptiness Fist. Some of the patriarchs exclaimed, could it be Lord Holy Devil's 9 Revolutions Emptiness Fist? The Holy Devil had 10 ultimate techniques that deterred the Jiutian, and the 9 Revolutions Emptiness Fist was one of them. Those who didn't recognize Taurus Longjiao's fist technique were shocked, and they heard that Taurus Longjiao had executed the 9 Revolutions Emptiness Fist. Qing Xuanlong was even more excited. It really is Lord Holy Devil's 9 Revolutions Emptiness Fist. Earlier, when he saw Taurus Longjiao executing the 9 Revolutions Emptiness Fist, he had already suspected it, but he wasn't sure. Now that Taurus Longjiao had executed the 9 Revolutions Emptiness Fist, he was certain. At the same time, he couldn't help but look at the blue-robed figure standing in front of the stone tablet. 9 Revolutions Emptiness Fist, was this a coincidence? Taurus Longjiao looked at Fei Jie, who was lying motionless on the ground, and said, "You dare to attack my master with this little bit of strength?" Everyone choked. 50 million battle planes worth of energy, and this little bit of strength? Who are you? How are you related to Lord Holy Devil? Lei Yu regained his senses, and he looked gloomily at Taurus Longjiao as he asked. Everyone looked at the demonic zither master's body that had been torn into pieces and were overwhelmed with shock. Even Lei Yu was shocked. He, who was originally close to the heavenly steel, involuntarily retreated. As for Zhang Sangchong, he was trembling in fear. His strength wasn't much different from Fu Chao's. Even if he was stronger than Fu Chao, there was a limit to it. But now, demonic zither, who possessed 54 million units of demonic zither's plain power, was killed by Lu Yiping with a single punch. Could it be that Lu Yiping was the one who suppressed Fu Chao with his Buddha palm? However, they were certain that Lu Yiping was in the Wind Thunder Manor in the Firmament God region, not the Guiyuan Sword School. Also, what was up with Lu Yiping's astronomical divine prison fist? Was Lu Yiping the Holy Devil Lord's disciple? Zhang Sangchong wasn't the only one who thought so. Many experts present, including Lei Yu, were guessing if Lu Yiping was the Holy Devil Lord's disciple. Earlier, Taurus Longjiao had executed the 9 revolutions emptiness fist. Now, it was Lu Yiping's astronomical divine prison fist. Both of them were the Holy Devil Lord's ultimate techniques. Does anyone have any objections? Lu Yiping swept his gaze across the experts in the heavenly steel town. Everyone kept quiet out of fear. Even a big shot from the Holy Devil era like demonic zither was killed with a single punch. Who would dare to object? We have no intention of offending Lord. We will leave immediately. A super sex ancestor said respectfully to Lu Yiping. He then led his sex experts away, disappearing from the heavenly steel town in the blink of an eye. In an instant, the other super sex ancestors and ancestors also led their experts away. In an instant, the heavenly steel town became sparse. Zhang Sangchong's face was gloomy. At this time, the other heavenly steels also broke out from the ground. He looked at the group of heavenly steels, and his heart was filled with unwillingness. But in the end, he still said to the Taiching Sword School's sect chief Hu Yun and the others, return to the Taiching Sword School. He knew that it was useless even if he was unwilling. Lu Yiping's strength was too terrifying. They couldn't obtain the heavenly steel. Just as Zhang Sangchong was about to lead the Taiching Sword School's group away, Lu Yiping said indifferently, the others can leave, but the Taiching Sword School, Qin and Painting School, and the Kunpeng Divine Sect's people cannot leave. The Black Heaven Sect, Wushuang Tavern, Yen Family, and Heavenly Beast Gates experts who had yet to leave were dumbfounded when they heard Huang Xiaolong's words. Lei Yu, Hua Rushing, Zhang Sangchong, the Kunpeng Divine Sect, Qin and Painting School, and Taiching Sword School's experts were also stunned. The lightning ancestor Lei Yu's face was gloomy. Lightning crackled around his body as he glared at Lu Yiping, surnamed Lu, do you really think you're invincible? Boundless lightning crackled around his body, drowning out the heavenly steel town in an instant. Everyone was shocked, and they hurriedly circulated their god force to resist the lightning. Is this 70 million planes of existence energy? The Black Heaven Sect's Ji Tian's body tensed up. The limit of a Lord of Existence in the early stage was 10 million, the mid-stage was 30 million, and the late stage was 70 million. Once a Lord of Existence broke through 70 million planes of existence energy, they would enter the peak late stage. However, from the ancient times until now, there were only a handful of experts who had broken through to the peak late stage Lord of Existence. Breaking through from the late stage to the peak late stage was harder than ascending to the heavens. No, it hasn't broken through 70 million yet. It's only close to 70 million. Qing Xuanlong shook his head. Close to 70 million, that was more than 69 million planes of existence energy. Even so, everyone paled. 69 million planes of existence energy was more than 15 million planes of existence energy compared to the Zither Devils. Lightning tribulation, annihilate. Lei Yu's voice was filled with killing intent, and a sky full of lightning bolts rained down on Liu Yiping. Heaven and earth were filled with boundless lightning bolts. The destructive power wreaked havoc on the earth, and everyone retreated in fear. Chapter 142. Everyone only dared to stop when they were outside the Sky Steel Fortress. Then, everyone's gaze was fixed on the blue-robed figure at the center of the square. The blue-robed figure was completely engulfed by the lightning. Due to the lightning, no one could see what was happening inside the square. What a terrifying lightning tribulation! Lightning tribulation contains the will of heaven. I didn't expect Honorable Lei Yu to have comprehended the power of lightning tribulation. The Taiching Sword School's sect master Hu Yun exclaimed. Zhong Sangchong nodded and said, with such lightning tribulation power, even a mid-stage lord of existential plane would be blasted to death. Even a late-stage lord of existential plane wouldn't be able to withstand it. He added, even if that Lu guy is a peak late-stage lord of existential plane, he would still be injured. Gu Gaoyuan was overjoyed hearing this. Qing Xuanlong looked at the center of the square, and his heart tensed up. Lei Yu looked at Liu Yiping, who was engulfed by his lightning tribulation power, and an indifferent smile appeared on his face. This Liu Yiping would be seriously injured even if he didn't die from the lightning tribulation power. Then, he summoned the lightning hammer. Heavenly Lightning Hammer. The Heavenly Lightning Hammer was an acquired spiritual artifact. Moreover, it was an offensive-type acquired spiritual artifact that was stronger than Fei Jie's Heavenly Wall Divine Shield and Divine Armor. Lei Yu circulated the lightning tribulation power and swung the hammer at the center of the square again. Just as Lei Yu's hammer was about to hit the center of the square, the Heavenly Lightning Hammer seemed to have hit an invisible barrier. It couldn't reach the square. Lei Yu was dumbfounded. The lightning tribulation power that engulfed the square suddenly exploded. A figure reappeared in front of everyone. Liu Yiping's expression was the same as usual, and he didn't move at all. Looking at the unharmed Liu Yiping, Zhong Sangchong, Gu Gaoyuan, Hua Rushing, and the others were dumbfounded. Liu Yiping was fine after taking a lightning tribulation attack. Moreover, this lightning tribulation attack was executed by the lightning ancestor, Lei Yu. Impossible. Lei Yu stared at Liu Yiping in disbelief. Liu Yiping was fine after taking a lightning tribulation attack. How could this be? When did such a terrifying existence appear in Jiutian? Who the hell are you? Lei Yu looked at Liu Yiping, unable to hide the fear in his eyes. His voice couldn't help but tremble. Although he hadn't broken through to the peak of the late stage, he was confident that he could put up a fight against an ordinary peak of the late stage. However, facing Liu Yiping, who was like a terrifying abyss, he felt a chill in his heart. Liu Yiping looked at the Heavenly Thunder Hammer hovering in the air. Suddenly, the Heavenly Thunder Hammer exploded. It crumbled inch by inch. With just a glance, an acquired spiritual treasure was destroyed. Everyone was shocked. What's going on? Liu Yiping used the Eye of Heaven just now. The Yan clan's ancestor, Yan Meng, felt his mouth go dry. The Eye of Heaven was an ancient technique. In ancient times, this was the ultimate technique of the Azure race. With a single glance, all living things would collapse. Of course, executing this innate ultimate skill required the consumption of an extremely terrifying amount of soul energy. At most, it could only be executed once or twice, and it couldn't be executed repeatedly. Even so, it was heaven-defying enough. Eye of Heaven. Lei Yu was alarmed and started to retreat. The lightning punishment you used just now wasn't lightning punishment at all. You haven't even grasped the surface of lightning punishment. Liu Yiping looked at the retreating Lei Yu and said, I'll let you experience the true power of lightning punishment. Then, he pointed his right index finger at the sky. In an instant, a giant hole was blasted open in the sky. Terrifying lightning energy poured out from the giant hole like raging waves. The sky was filled with divine lightning, and there were all kinds of divine lightning. 5 elements divine lightning. Purple gold divine lightning. Yin-yang divine lightning. 10,000 divine lightning. Zhong Sang-chong, Yen Meng, and the others recognized 60 to 70 types of divine lightning. As for the rest, they couldn't recognize them. Suddenly, an ancestor exclaimed in a trembling voice, "It's chaos divine lightning." Everyone followed the gaze of the patriarch and saw that in the void, there was a divine thunder that was like a heavenly pillar that came crashing down. It illuminated the world, and its light made the surrounding divine thunder pale in comparison. This pillar of divine lightning was filled with chaos energy. There's still someone in this world who can control chaos divine lightning. Everyone looked at the descending chaos divine lightning, and there was only chaos divine lightning in their eyes. Divine Kunpeng Zhongzhong's experts looked at the descending chaos divine lightning and fled with the injured Fei Jie. Lei Yu turned into a streak of lightning and flew away in a frenzy, trying to escape from the sky steel fortress. However, as soon as he flew up, countless streaks of divine lightning crashed down on him. Everyone saw that Lei Yu was struck to the ground by the chaos divine lightning. Then, countless streaks of divine lightning exploded on his body. Divine Kunpeng Zhongzhong's experts were no exception. All of them were sent flying by the divine lightning, and none of them managed to escape. Even after a long time, the divine lightning was still raging, filling the air. The hole in the sky was slowly closing up. The experts from the Tai Ching Sword School, Qin and Painting School looked at Lei Yu and Divine Kunpeng Zhongzhong's corpses, and their hands and feet turned cold. Those were the lords of 30 planes. And 1,000 heavenly gods. Such a force was enough to shake the entire Jiotian continent. But now, all of them were killed. Is this the true power of the lightning punishment? Black Heaven Sect's ancestor, Ji Tian, muttered to himself. This was indeed the power of the lightning punishment. However, they didn't know that this wasn't the ultimate power of the lightning punishment. This was only the initial power of the lightning punishment. Lu Yiping's gaze fell on Tai Ching Sword School's Zhong Sang-chong, Qin and Painting School's Hua Rusheng, and the others. Zhong Sang-chong's body stiffened. As for Hua Rusheng, Chu Yun, and the others, there was no need to even mention them. They didn't even have the thought of running away. They clearly saw how terrifying the lightning punishment was. Even a big shot from the holy demon era like Lei Yu couldn't escape. What could they do? Kill them all. Lu Yiping ordered. Suddenly, rays of golden light flew out from Taurus Longjiao's body. When everyone looked carefully, they saw that they were golden retriever. The golden retriever turned into golden blades, flying towards the experts from the Tai Ching Sword School, Qin and Painting School. Before Zhong Sang-chong, Hua Rusheng, and the others could react, the golden retriever cut them into countless pieces. Lu Yiping turned around, and his gaze fell on the main monument again. He studied it carefully. The experts from the Black Heaven Sect, Yen family, and Wushuang Tavern stood there, not daring to move. All of you leave first. Qing Xuanlong suddenly said to the Wushuang Tavern's experts. The Wushuang Tavern's experts were stunned. Go. Qing Xuanlong's eyes were sharp. The Wushuang Tavern's experts didn't dare to disobey. They saluted and left uneasily. The Black Heaven Sect, Yen family, and other forces experts also left. In the end, only Qing Xuanlong was left. Qing Xuanlong took a deep breath and stepped forward nervously. He said to Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao, "This one is Qing Xuanlong, a subordinate of Lord Holy Demon. Greetings to both lords." He then knelt down respectfully. Chapter 143 While Qing Xuanlong was kneeling in front of Lu Yiping, Huang Jiu, Hao Bai, and Ao Bai stood in a daze in the distance. Their souls had long left their bodies. Previously, the three of them did not have a deep understanding of Lu Yiping's strength. But now, seeing that even the lightning ancestor Lei Yu was blasted clean by Lu Yiping's lightning punishment, other than shock, there was only shock. Who was the lightning ancestor Lei Yu? He was one of the Holy Devil era's top 10 experts. Even the lightning ancestor Lei Yu, one of the Holy Devil era's top 10 experts, could not block a single blow from Lu Yiping. In this world, who could be Lord Lu's opponent? Lu Yiping glanced at the kneeling Qing Xuanlong and asked, "You're Zhang Yifeng's follower?" Zhang Yifeng was the Holy Devil Emperor's real name. However, not many people knew this name. Qing Xuanlong trembled hearing Huang Xiaolong's question. His head was close to the ground as he respectfully and emotionally answered, "Yes, Lord." Then, he added, "That year, I followed Lord Holy Devil to the Holy Forest and was fortunate enough to catch a glimpse of Lord. However, I only saw Lord's back at that time, so I wasn't sure." Lu Yiping grunted in acknowledgement, allowing Qing Xuanlong to stand up. Qing Xuanlong saluted respectfully, then stood up in excitement. Although he stood up, he lowered his head, not daring to straighten his back. Lu Yiping said, "I heard that Gu Wushuang is Zhang Yifeng's disciple in name." Qing Xuanlong quickly answered, "Yes, Lord. That's why we're guarding the Wushuang Tavern. When you go back, tell Gu Wushuang to discipline the younger generation. In recent years, the Wushuang Tavern's reputation has not been good." Lu Yiping's voice was indifferent. "If he doesn't care, then tear down the entire Wushuang Tavern." Qing Xuanlong knew that Lu Yiping was referring to the incident at the Wushuang Tavern in the ancient mystic city. He quickly knelt down in fear. "This lowly one obeys Lord Holy Ancestor's decree. When I return, I will have Gu Wushuang discipline the Gu family's disciples." At this time, Taurus Longjiao, who was staring at the heavenly steel's words, suddenly spoke, "These things, it's dazzling me, how can I finish reading it in a day's time?" Every time the heavenly steel appeared, it would only last for 1 day. A day later, it would return to the underground world and wait for its next appearance. Lu Yiping said, "If we can't finish it in 1 day, then we'll take them all away. Lift them all up." Qing Xuanlong was stunned when he heard that. Recovering from their shock, Huang Jiu, Hao Bai, and Ao Bai were also stunned by Huang Xiaolong's words. The heavenly steel was something left behind by the celestial emperor of the supreme ancient era. The heavenly steel itself contained a supreme amount of strength. In this world, there was basically no one who could move it. They had never heard of anyone being able to move it. When Taurus Longjiao heard this, he laughed and slapped his head. "Look at me, how could I forget about this?" Then, he grabbed one of the heavenly steels with both hands and began to pull it up. The ground rumbled and trembled. Light burst out from the heavenly steel, and a terrifying energy swept out, crashing onto Taurus Longjiao. The heavenly might inside the heavenly steel rose sharply, as if Taurus Longjiao's action had angered the celestial emperor. However, Taurus Longjiao allowed the heavenly steel's terrifying energy to crash into it. Under the overwhelming heavenly might, the heavenly steel continued to be pulled up. The heavenly steel slowly rose up amidst loud rumbling noises. Qing Xuanlong, Huang Jiu, Hao Bai, and Ao Bai were dumbfounded by this scene. This was possible. The four people's hearts were filled with shock. Other than shock, there was still more shock. This was even more shocking than when Lu Yiping killed Lei Yu. This was a heavenly steel that contained the celestial emperor's power, yet it was actually pulled up. Even if it was just a trace of the celestial emperor's power, it was not something they could imagine. In this world, who was the most awesome? In terms of being awesome, only I, Taurus Longjiao, this Lord Shaojin. What's so great about pulling up mountains and rivers? I, this Lord Shaojin, pulled up the heavenly steel. The heavenly steel continued to rise. Its energy became more violent, and the heavenly might grew stronger. Taurus Longjiao suddenly let out a loud bellow. Heaven and earth shook as the heavenly steel was finally pulled up. Buzz! Everyone in every corner of the Jiotian continent felt the space around them shake violently. Qing Xuanlong and the others were dumbfounded. It really was pulled out. From the primordial era until now, the heavenly steel that countless people could not move was directly pulled out. Taurus Longjiao looked at the heavenly steel in his hand and grinned, "Good fellow, it's quite heavy." Then, he waved the heavenly steel in his hand, stirring up countless hurricanes. The heavenly steel was made from the hardest and heaviest ores in the primordial era, but now, it was being waved around by our Lord Shaojin. Lu Yiping said, "It's just a heavenly steel. You don't have to work so hard." At this point, Lu Yiping hooked 2 fingers, and the heavenly steel flew up from the ground. Taurus Longjiao, who had just pulled out the heavenly steel with all his might, was stunned. Qing Xuanlong and the others were dumbfounded. Lu Yiping then hooked the other 9 heavenly steels around the heavenly steel one by one. Seeing that Taurus Longjiao was still standing there, Lu Yiping said, "Why aren't you doing it?" Taurus Longjiao came back to his senses and continued to pull out the heavenly steel. This time, Shaojin used the power of 9 bulls, and the speed of pulling out the heavenly steels was much faster. In the end, all 100 heavenly steels were pulled out by Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao. Lu Yiping kept the heavenly steels into the heaven and earth cauldron, planning to study them in the future. After keeping the heavenly steels, there was no need to stay in the heavenly steel town any longer. Lu Yiping led the group out of the town. After leaving the heavenly steel town, Lu Yiping said to Qing Xuanlong, "Help me investigate the lifeless sects Sun Haiyin and Jade Fan School's jade-faced wolf lord's whereabouts." This time, the heavenly steels had appeared early, and the lifeless sect, Jade Fan School, and many other sects had yet to arrive. Previously, Lu Yiping had asked the Misty Pavilion to inquire about the lifeless sect, Huang Yuandong, and Jade-faced wolf lord's whereabouts. However, several days had passed, and there was still no news. Qing Xuanlong was flattered by Lu Yiping's order, and quickly answered, "Yes, Lord. Please rest assured, I will use all my strength to investigate." Thus, he took out his communication talisman and contacted the Wushuang Tavern's people in charge, ordering them to use all their strength to investigate Sun Haiyin and Jade-faced wolf lord's whereabouts. A short while later, Qing Xuanlong saluted and left. Taurus Longjiao grumbled, his mother, "It's been several days, but there's still no news from the Misty Pavilion. Could it be that they took the money and didn't do anything?" Lu Yiping also frowned. Logically speaking, the lifeless sect had sent a large number of people, and with the Misty Pavilion's strength, it was impossible for them to not have any results after several days. "Let's make a trip to the Misty Pavilion and ask," Lu Yiping ordered. The group sped away. Not long after Lu Yiping's group left the heavenly steel town, the Jiotian town was shaken by the events that happened. The heavenly steel has appeared, the Kunpeng divine sect's lightning ancestor, Lei Yu, Fei Jie, and the rest of the 30 world surfaces overlords and 1,000 heavenly gods were annihilated. Qin and painting schools Qin Mo Ju, Hua Rushing, and the other 10 world surfaces overlords and 300 heavenly gods were annihilated. Taiqing sword schools Zhong Sangchong, Chu Yun, and the other 6 world surfaces overlords and 100 heavenly gods were annihilated. As the news spread, the Jiotian town was in an uproar. The appearance of the heavenly steel made everyone in the Jiotian remember Lu Yiping's name. The news shook the entire Jiotian town. In the Kunpeng divine sect's ancestral land, several hundred shocking auras awakened in the depths of the ancient hall. Chapter 144. Yu is dead. From the depths of the Kunpeng ancestral land, a voice sounded like a giant bell, shaking the ancestral land. Sensing the anger and killing intent in the voice, the ancestor kneeling in front of the ancient hall trembled. Yes, ancestor vast sky thunder. Although this kneeling ancestor was a late-stage world lord, a Jyotian overlord, his entire body was tense, not daring to breathe too loudly. Who killed you, her? Another voice sounded from the depths of the hall. This voice was very sharp, but the kneeling ancestor's heart tightened when he heard it. He quickly answered, replying to ancestor Qin Yuqian, it was a person called Lu Yiping. This person only appeared in the Jyotian a month ago, no one knows his background. We only know that he has a close relationship with the Firmament God region's Guiyuan Sword School's Chu Tong. Lei Wu snorted coldly, Guiyuan Sword School's Chu Tong. Then, he added, tell me everything that happened at the Heavenly Steel Fortress, don't leave out a single detail. The old ancestor hurriedly agreed, and then recounted the battle between Lu Yiping and Lei Yu in the Heavenly Steel Town. This ancestor's inquiry was very detailed, and he reconstructed the battle between Lu Yiping and Lei Yu to 100%. Oh, 9 revolutions emptiness fist, heavenly elephant's fist. Tang Wu, Qin Yuqian, and the other ancestors in the hall were surprised when they heard that Taurus Longjiao and Lu Yiping knew the 9 revolutions emptiness fist and heavenly elephant's fist. When they heard that Lu Yiping had used the lightning tribulation to annihilate Lei Yu and more than 1,000 Kunpeng divine sex experts, the hall fell into silence. This Lu Yiping can actually control chaos divine lightning? Qin Yuqian asked solemnly. Yes, ancestor, all the experts present saw it, it was chaos divine lightning. The ancestor answered respectfully. Tang Wu and Qin Yuqian asked a lot of questions. Alright, you can take your leave first. You'll be in charge of the affairs of the Kunpeng divine sect for the time being. Tang Wu said. Yes, ancestor. After the ancestor left, Tang Wu asked, chaos divine lightning? Looks like there's another monster in Jyotian that's comparable to a sacred devil. Qin Yuqian sneered, just because he can control chaos divine lightning doesn't mean that he's comparable to the holy devil from back then. When the holy devil was mentioned, both of their voices were filled with dread. Lord Yuqian is right. The Jyotian only has one sacred devil. It's impossible for another one to appear, another ancestor said. How can this surnamed Lu be compared to the sacred devil? I don't think he's even fit to carry the shoes of the saint demon. The hall fell silent again. I haven't come out for so many years. I wonder how the outside world is doing. Tang Wu's voice drifted out. It's time for you to come out. When the time comes, I'll challenge this Lu guy to a duel and warm up my old bones. I wonder if the world still remembers us. When Lu Yiping and the others arrived at the Misty Pavilion's branch, Pavilion Master Kong Ning was welcoming Sun Haiyin and the lifeless sex experts warmly and respectfully. Kong Ning filled Sun Haiyin's cup with wine and smiled, Lord Sun Haiyin, this wine is brewed with the ice spirit liquid from the deepest part of the sea. What do you think of the taste? Sun Haiyin drank the wine in one gulp and nodded, not bad. He then asked, you said that someone paid 10 billion divine grade spirit stones to find out about Aoi Xuan and me? Yes. Kong Ning's expression turned serious, this person is extremely generous. Did you find out his background? Sun Haiyin asked. Kong Ning shook his head, no, he didn't leave his name, but he should be someone from the Heavenly Dragon Divine Nation. Thus, Sun Haiyin, Kong Ning, and the Lifeless Sect and Misty Pavilion's experts walked out from the inner hall. When Sun Haiyin and the rest of the Lifeless Sect's experts arrived at the outer hall, they were stunned when they saw Ao by standing beside Lu Yiping. Hee, brat, so you're here. Sun Haiyin snickered as his gaze fell on Lu Yiping, you're the brat who spent 10 billion divine grade spirit stones to find me? You're really from the Heavenly Dragon Divine Country. Ao Bai's eyes were bloodshot as he glared at Sun Haiyin, it's you guys. Sun Haiyin, where's my father? Seeing the killing intent in Ao Bai's eyes, Sun Haiyin laughed heartily, your father has been killed by us. His true dragon meat tasted good, quite chewy. We've been drinking your father's dragon blood to quench our thirst these past few days. The lifeless sex experts laughed. Chapter 145. Ao Bai's eyes reddened when he heard that Sun Haiyin had killed Ao Ishuan. Father. Then he charged at Sun Haiyin, I'm going to kill you. Seeing Ao Bai charging at him, Sun Haiyin laughed, even your father is no match for me, and you want to kill me? Without even looking at Ao Bai, Sun Haiyin's palm struck out. At the same time, he ordered the lifeless sex experts, kill these people as well. Several people walked out from the lifeless sect, attacking Lu Yiping. However, when the lifeless sex experts' attacks reached Lu Yiping, the space around them suddenly stagnated. Their speed slowed to a crawl, and in the end, they stopped. Even Sun Haiyin was no exception, he was as slow as an ant. Sun Haiyin's eyes widened in disbelief. This is... Time and space stagnated. Who did this? Even he, the World Lord, was affected. While Sun Haiyin was still in disbelief, Ao Bai's fist landed on Sun Haiyin's chest. Sun Haiyin was sent flying through the misty pavilion's wall. Kong Ning and the others were dumbfounded. At this time, Huang Jiao stepped forward, phoenix flames slashed out, slashing at the lifeless sex experts. The lifeless sex experts were sent flying. When they landed on the ground, phoenix flames spread all over their bodies. Miserable screams filled the air. Sun Haiyin crawled up from the street, feeling the sharp pain in his chest. He was both shocked and angered. His gaze swept over Lu Yiping, Taurus Longjiao, and the others. It's you guys? Ao Bai rushed out in anger, punching out again. Sun Haiyin did not dare to be careless. His world energy surged madly, forming layers of defenses around his body as he punched out. However, just as he was about to attack, the space around him stagnated again. Just like before, his speed slowed down, and in the end, he stopped. This time, Ao Bai's fist landed on Sun Haiyin's head. Bang! Sun Haiyin felt a loud boom in his head as his body slammed into the ground. Kong Ning and the others were dumbfounded. Sun Haiyin was a master of a plane with a strength of 40 million fighting planes. He was on par with Zither god Fu Chao, but now, he was being crushed by Ao Bai, a mere heavenly god. Sun Haiyin crawled up from the ground. Everyone looked at him and saw that his left eye had been blasted open. The entire left side of his face was swollen and black. It's you. Who are you? Sun Haiyin looked at Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao in shock and anger. The space-time around him had changed twice in a row. It was undoubtedly the doing of Lu Yiping, Taurus Longjiao, and the others. He had been careless the first time. But the second time, he had already gone all out. His movements were still stagnant. There was no doubt that one of Lu Yiping's group was stronger than him. Otherwise, it would not have been possible to suppress the power of the plane in his body and change the space-time around him. Lu Yiping did not answer. Instead, he looked at Kong Ning and said indifferently, I gave you 1,000,000 divine-grade spirit stones to ask the Misty Pavilion about Sun Haiyin's whereabouts. You knew about Sun Haiyin's whereabouts, but you didn't tell me. You even colluded with Sun Haiyin. It looks like there's no need for this Misty Pavilion to exist anymore. Kong Ning roared with laughter at Huang Xiaolong's words, Brat, don't think that you can do whatever you want in the Misty Pavilion just because you have some control over space-time law. If you know what's good for you, leave now. The Misty Pavilion is not something your heavenly dragon divine country can afford to provoke. As the Jotian's #1 intelligence organization, the Misty Pavilion's influence spread to every corner of the Jotian continent. Although it was not one of the top 10 Jotian superpowers, like the Matchless Tavern, it was a supreme existence that deterred the Jotian continent. In the Jotian continent, there was a saying that one would rather provoke the top 10 superpowers than provoke the Misty Pavilion. Although it was an exaggeration, there was some truth in it. Lu Yiping laughed at Kong Ning's words. Taurus Longjiao also laughed at Huang Xiaolong's words. At this time, the experts passing by the city saw that someone was causing trouble in the Misty Pavilion and stopped to watch from afar. This year, anything can happen. Someone actually dares to cause trouble in the Misty Pavilion. If you offend the Misty Pavilion will dig out all the scandals of your 8 generations of ancestors and make them public. You'll lose all standing and reputation, be despised by everyone, and become a rat on the street. You'll suffer a fate worse than death. Someone chuckled. Kong Ning sneered at Huang Xiaolong's words. At this time, Sun Haiyan's body was shrouded in a dark light as he sent a palm strike at Ao Bai. Black waves rolled, corpse chi surged, and the wails of evil spirits could be heard. It was the black ghost poisonous heart palm of the lifeless sex expert that had chased after Ao Bai. However, that lifeless sex expert only had a little over 3 million units of plane energy, while Sun Haiyan had more than 40 million units. Under Sun Haiyan's power, the black ghost poisonous heart palm's power was more than 10 times that of the lifeless sex expert. Seeing Sun Haiyan's black ghost poisonous heart palm, Ao Bai was shocked. But just as Sun Haiyan's black ghost poisonous heart palm was about to reach Ao Bai, time and space stagnated again. In the next second, the black ghost poisonous heart palm's black waves dissipated with the wind, as if the black ghost poisonous heart palm's power had disappeared. Sun Haiyan was dumbfounded. Even if time and space stagnated, it could only stop his black ghost poisonous heart palm's force, it couldn't possibly dissipate it, right? Could it be that time and space didn't stagnate? Were there other laws involved in it? But, what kind of laws were those? While he was still in doubt, Ao Bai's fist landed on his face again, sending him flying. This time, Ao Bai's fist landed on the right side of his face, splitting his right eye, black and swollen. Inside the city, many experts rushed over after hearing the news. When one of the experts arrived and saw Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao, his limbs trembled in fear. "Friend, what's wrong?" One of the experts that came with him couldn't help asking after seeing his reaction. That expert's teeth chattered, "It's the ancestor of lightning punishment." "What?" "The ancestor of lightning punishment, Lu Yiping." The moment this expert's words came out, everyone's eyes fell on Lu Yiping, and their faces paled. During the battle at the Heavenly Steel Fortress, Lu Yiping had killed Lei Yu with the power of lightning punishment. Therefore, many Jotian experts had given Lu Yiping the title Ancestor of Lightning Punishment. When Kong Ning, Sun Haiyan, and the Misty Pavilion and lifeless sex experts heard that the blue-robed young man in front of them was the ancestor of lightning punishment, their faces paled. "You're Lu Yiping." Kong Ning couldn't conceal the fear in his voice. After the battle at the Heavenly Steel Fortress, Jotian experts' faces paled at the mere mention of Lu Yiping. At this time, Kong Ning wanted to cry. If he had known that the person looking for Sun Haiyan was Lu Yiping, he would have told Lu Yiping about Sun Haiyan's whereabouts, even if it meant offending Sun Haiyan. Recalling Lu Yiping's method of killing Lei Yu, Kong Ning felt his scalp go numb. He couldn't help but look up at the sky. It was said that Lu Yiping could shake the heavens with a single finger, and countless divine lightning bolts rained down endlessly. Even Lei Yu couldn't escape. "Attack!" Lu Yiping ordered. Taurus Longjiao, who was sharpening his spear, took a step forward and sent a palm strike at Kong Ning. Seeing Taurus Longjiao, Kong Ning retreated in fear. During the battle at the Heavenly Steel Fortress, Taurus Longjiao used the 99 Emptiness Fist to send Fei Jie flying. Therefore, Taurus Longjiao's fame resounded throughout the Jotian region. "I've already cut up his true dragon body and eaten it. I've also drunk all of his dragon blood. Now, only his dragon soul is left. Even if he's not dead, it's no different from being dead. In the future, he can only live in this world as a dragon soul. Not necessarily. Lu Yiping said. He searched Sun Haiyan's body and found a divine cauldron. He then opened the array formation inside the cauldron. Ao Yishuan's dragon soul flew out from the cauldron. Seeing Ao Yishuan's dragon soul, Ao Bai was overjoyed, "Father." At this time, Lu Yiping took out a chaos 5-colored immortal stone from the cauldron of heaven and earth. A ball of flame emerged from his palm, turning the chaos 5-colored immortal stone into liquid. Then, Lu Yiping flicked his finger, and the liquid immortal stone revolved around Ao Yishuan's dragon soul. Ao Yishuan, who was only left with his dragon soul, started to grow a dragon head, dragon body, dragon claws, and dragon tail. Then, dragon scales started to grow out. Sun Haiyan was dumbfounded. This is impossible. He couldn't believe it. Even an existence that surpassed the planar lord level couldn't help a planar lord recover his physical body. Nothing is impossible. Lu Yiping said nonchalantly. He had already comprehended the life and death Grand Tao and reincarnation Grand Tao from the first fortune jade disc. Helping someone reconstruct their physical body was a piece of cake. Previously, when the ancient fiend god Chang Liang was only left with his eternal devil heart, Huang Xiaolong could also help him reconstruct his physical body. This is the Chaos True Dragon's body. Ao Yishuan exclaimed as he felt the strength of his newly grown physical body. Sun Haiyan choked. Not only did Lu Yiping help Ao Yishuan reconstruct his physical body, but it was also the Chaos True Dragon's body. Ao Bai was also pleasantly surprised. He stepped forward and introduced Lu Yiping to Ao Yishuan. Ao Yishuan came to a stop in front of Lu Yiping, bowing respectfully in thanks. "I'll leave him to you." Lu Yiping did not kill Sun Haiyan. He sealed Sun Haiyan's strength and threw him to Ao Yishuan and Ao Bai. In the end, Sun Haiyan was reduced to a pile of flesh and blood by Ao Yishuan and Ao Bai. Even his soul and godhead exploded. The news of Kong Ning's group being killed by Lu Yiping soon reached the Misty Pavilion's chief pavilion master's ears. Lu Yiping killed the Rock Sect, Qin and Painting School, and Tai Ching Sword School. Now, he killed my Misty Pavilion's people. He's a bloodthirsty maniac. Does he really think he can do as he pleases in the Jyotian? One of the Misty Pavilion's ancestors was enraged. The Misty Pavilion's chief pavilion master was equally enraged. He asked the person reporting to him, "Why did Lu Yiping kill my Misty Pavilion branch's pavilion master Kong Ning?" That expert hesitated for a moment before answering. According to our investigation, Lu Yiping came to the Misty Pavilion's branch and offered 10 billion divine-grade spirit stones as a reward for finding Sun Haiyan's whereabouts. However, Sun Haiyan was Kong Ning's old friend and had saved his life before. Therefore, Kong Ning accepted the reward but did not tell Lu Yiping about Sun Haiyan's whereabouts. Not only that, Kong Ning colluded with Sun Haiyan. At this point, the expert didn't continue. Everyone should have guessed what happened next. The ancestor who had reprimanded Lu Yiping earlier muttered, "Even so, Kong Ning is my Misty Pavilion's people. If someone wants to punish Kong Ning, it should be my Misty Pavilion's responsibility." His tone was no longer as unyielding as before. Half a day later, several figures appeared near the Great Void Region's 6-eye mountain. They were none other than Lu Yiping's group. Lu Yiping's group was here to take a look at the ancient evil Buddha's tomb. However, just as Lu Yiping's group arrived at the 6-eye mountain's peak, several youngsters frowned as they looked at the huge tomb in front of them. The 6-eye mountain is a scenic spot. Who built such a huge tomb here? Blow it up for me. What a killjoy. Chapter 147. One of the young men suddenly punched the tomb of the Buddha of the World Venerable. Boom! A loud explosion sounded. The tomb's stone steel emitted a bright light, forcing the young man back. The several young men were dumbfounded. Grand formation. The golden-robed Zhang Chang and looked at the stone steel in astonishment. What a powerful grand formation. I wonder who set up this grand formation, said Feng Xian, the other young man who was traveling with Yi Futian. Zhang Chang and stepped forward, reading the words on the stone steel, Ancient Evil Buddha's Tomb, Friend, Chang Liang. Everyone was dumbfounded. A tomb from the ancient times? But this tomb looks like it was built recently. Feng Xian was doubtful. Have any of you heard of this ancient evil Buddha? And who is this Chang Liang? What ancient evil Buddha? I'm the ancient venerable. Jin Tianhong, who was pushed back after attacking the tomb, harumphed with an ugly expression. The ancient evil Buddha was not one of the myriad God era's top 10 experts, and it had been many eras since then. Therefore, not many people in the Jyotian knew about the ancient evil Buddha. Not to mention Zhang Chang and Feng Xian, Jin Tianhong, and the other juniors, even the Holy Devil era and Heaven Battling era's old monsters didn't know about the ancient evil Buddha. Hearing Jin Tianhong mention the ancient venerable's name, Zhang Chang and Feng Xian, and the other Zhang Guangxin's faces tightened. Tianhong, don't talk nonsense. Zhang Chang and warned. Jin Tianhong didn't mind. Who knows if that ancient venerable is dead or not? It's just a name, is there a need to be so afraid? He then stepped forward, staring at the stone steel. I don't believe I can't tear this tomb apart. He punched out again. His fist whistled through the air, emitting a bright golden light. Boundless heavenly God energy. The stone steel's grand formation shook, forcing Jin Tianhong to stagger back again. Jin Tianhong's blood and qi roiled, his arm aching. The three of them were surprised. All three of them knew Jin Tianhong's strength, which was similar to theirs. Although he was only an early heavenly god, he had cultivated close to 20,000 strands of heavenly god's law. Just now, Jin Tianhong's full-force punch failed to break this stone steel's grand formation. Jin Tianhong's face flushed red, a giant golden hammer in his hand. Golden light hammer. Zhang Chang and was surprised. Feng Xian said, the golden light hammer is a transcendent grade divine artifact. I didn't expect venerable golden light to pass it down to brother Tianhong. Jin Tianhong smiled proudly, it's just a golden radiance hammer. My father said that if I can cultivate the golden radiance grand art to the 14th level, he will give me an acquired spiritual treasure. With that said, he walked over to the great tomb and infused his right hand with heavenly God's power. The golden hammer shone brightly as it spun, emitting a whistling sound as a shocking power burst forth from it. Break for me. Jin Tianhong leaped up and smashed down with the golden hammer in his hand. An astonishing power surged. It suddenly smashed into the great tomb. However, just as Jin Tianhong's golden light hammer was about to land, a golden flame suddenly pierced through the air and struck the golden light hammer. Jin Tianhong was struck by the force and fell from the sky. He lost control of his body and fell to the ground. His throat heated up and he spurted out blood. Zhang Changhen, Feng Xian, and Zhang Guangxin were shocked. Looking over, they saw three figures whistling through the air. These three people were none other than Lu Yiping, Taurus Longjiao, and Huang Jiu. Not long after leaving the Misty Pavilion, Ao Yishuan and Ao Bai left the Jyotian, returning to the Holy Land. Since the matter at the ancient mystic city's old shop had been settled, Lu Yiping sent Hao Bai back to the Guiyuan sword school. In the blink of an eye, Lu Yiping, Ao Yishuan, and Ao Yishuan arrived at the Six-Eye Mountain's peak and descended. Seeing that the Buddha's tomb was intact, Taurus Longjiao breathed out in relief. Turning around, he looked at Jin Tianhong with an indifferent gaze. Jin Tianhong got up from the ground, wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth. He glared at them, "Who are you?" Since he was a child, he had lived like a prince. No matter where he went, he was always flattered. No one dared to make a move against him. Even when he was tearing down a tomb, he actually ran into nosy people. Indifferent, Taurus Longjiao looked at Jin Tianhong, "Break your own arms and scram." Jin Tianhong, Zhang Changhen, Feng Xian, and Zhang Guangxin were stunned. "What did you just say?" Jin Tianhong roared with laughter, "You want me to break my own arms and scram?" Then he asked, "Do you know who I am?" Taurus Longjiao snorted, "I don't care who your mother is. Even if your ancestor or great-grandfather is a Jyotian overlord, it's still the same. I don't want to repeat my words a second time." Jin Tianhong was enraged. The golden hammer in his hand slammed down on Taurus Longjiao, pushing his heavenly god force to the limit. The golden hammer whistled in the air. Golden halos shot out from the golden hammer. Seeing this, Huang Jiao sent out 2 golden phoenix flame slashes, shattering the golden halos. In a flicker, he was already in front of Jin Tianhong. With a wave of the golden phoenix flame slash, Jin Tianhong's arms fell to the ground. Jin Tianhong screamed in pain. Especially around his severed arms, the true phoenix fire burned in agony, making him wish he was dead. Everything happened so suddenly that Zhang Changhen, Feng Xian, and Zhang Guangxin were stupefied. They could see that Huang Jiao was also an early heavenly god, but his battle prowess was so strong that Jin Tianhong couldn't even retaliate. Indifferent, Taurus Longjiao looked at the screaming Jin Tianhong, "You should be thankful that the Buddha's tomb is not damaged. If the tombstone and tomb were damaged, I would crush you into pieces right now." Scram! His voice was like thunder. Jin Tianhong vomited another mouthful of blood. Zhang Changhen, Feng Xian, and Zhang Guangxin felt their minds go blank. The 3 of them helped Jin Tianhong up. "Tianhong, let's go." Zhang Changhen urged. Jin Tianhong also knew that he wasn't Huang Jiao's opponent with his current strength, thus, he sped away with Zhang Changhen and the rest. After Jin Tianhong's group left, Lu Yiping waved his hands, sending countless runes into the tombstone, strengthening the tombstone's formation. After Jin Tianhong's group left, they flew toward a nearby city. Inside a luxurious residence in the city, Venerable Golden Light was comforting a beautiful woman. This beautiful woman was Venerable Golden Light's elder sister, Jin Meiwan, and also the Kuanping Divine Sect Chief's wife. "Sister, don't be too sad. Lord Vast Thunder has already challenged Lu Yiping to a battle. Lu Yiping won't live for long," Venerable Golden Light said. Jin Meijuan's voice was filled with hatred, "I only hate that I can't kill this Lu Yiping with my own hands." While the 2 of them were talking in the main hall, Jin Tianhong, Feng Xian, Zhang Changhen, and Zhang Guangxin walked in. "Tianhong, what happened to your arms?" Seeing Jin Tianhong's arms were severed, the 2 of them stood up in shock. "Father, aunt." Jin Tianhong's voice was filled with hatred when he saw the 2 of them. "We ran into 3 people at the 6-eye mountain. My arms were severed by one of them." "Oh, the 6-eye mountain." Venerable Golden Light was surprised. The 6-eye mountain was not far from the city. "Father, they should still be at the 6-eye mountain," Jin Tianhong said. Chapter 148. Venerable Master Jingguang asked, "Can you tell who they are?" Zhang Chang'an answered solemnly, "The young man who attacked should be a phoenix divine beast, an early heavenly god realm expert. He used the phoenix true fire. As for the other golden-haired man and young man, I couldn't tell their strength." "Oh, early heavenly god realm disciples of the Phoenix clan?" Venerable Master Jingguang pondered, could it be that the Phoenix clan has reappeared? Jin Meiwan, who was standing at the side, said, "Jingguang, why are you so timid these days? So what if the other party is from the Phoenix clan? She then turned to Jin Tianhong and said, come, Aunt will go with you to the 6i mountain and help you seek justice. Aunt, my arm. Jin Tianhong said awkwardly. Jin Meiwan immediately reattached Jin Tianhong's severed arm and led him to the 6i mountain. Venerable Master Jingguang had no choice but to follow. However, when Venerable Master Jingguang, Jin Meiwan, and the others arrived, there was no one at the peak of the 6i mountain. They left. Jin Meiwan frowned. Although the 6i mountain wasn't far, Jin Tianhong and the others had returned and Jin Meiwan had reattached his arm. Thus, it took them more than an hour to return. They ran away really fast. Jin Tianhong said coldly. Venerable Master Jingguang arrived in front of the tomb and looked at the words on the tombstone, Tomb of the Ancient Evil Buddha, Buddha of the World, Friend, Chang Liang. He was puzzled, Buddha of the World. Chang Liang. He then asked Jin Meiwan, have you heard of this Buddha of the World? Jin Meiwan shook her head, never heard of him. He was probably a small character in the ancient times. After leaving the 6i mountain, Lu Yiping, Taurus Longjiao, and Huang Jiao headed to the Great Void Region's Heavenly Mountain Prefecture. When he left the Guiyuan Sword School, he asked the shop owner, who told him that his master was in the Heavenly Mountain Prefecture's Ziwei city. The shop owner's master was surnamed Che, named Dongyang. The only disciple of the Big Dipper Divine Palace's goddess Luo Shui was surnamed Che Peng. If Lu Yiping's guess was right, this Che Dongyang should be Che Peng's descendant. The Big Dipper Divine Palace was involved in the war. The palace master of the Big Dipper Divine Palace had fallen in battle. Due to the fall of the Big Dipper Divine Palace's palace master, after the war, the various palace masters of the Big Dipper Divine Palace fought for the position of palace master. In the end, many palace masters established their own sections. Therefore, not long after the Great War of the Gods, the Big Dipper Divine Palace completely declined. As for the whereabouts of the Big Dipper Divine Palace's goddess Luo Shui, no one knew. Some people said that the Big Dipper Divine Maiden was disheartened and left Hengyuan. Night fell. The stars were shining brightly. Beside the bonfire, Lu Yiping held the broken sword of the Misty Sword and sank into some distant memories. Taurus Longjiao wanted to say something, but hesitated. Back then, something had happened. Perhaps it was precisely because of this that the Big Dipper goddess, Luo Shui, became disheartened and left Hengyuan. Taurus Longjiao thought to himself. Lu Yiping collected his thoughts and kept the broken Misty Sword into the cauldron of heaven and earth. Then, he took out the heavenly steel's main steel. For the past 2 days, he had been studying the sky steel's main steel. Among the 100 steels, the main steel was undoubtedly the most important. Although the main steel was only a few meters tall, the words on it were as vast as the sea, recording countless contents. While studying the main steel, Lu Yiping also took out the 9 steels around the main steel for Taurus Longjiao and Huang Jiao to study. In the night, the main steel and the 9 steels around it emitted a faint golden glow. One night passed. Lu Yiping kept the 10 steels in the cauldron of heaven and earth and fell into deep thought. From the main steel, he learned that in the past, the foundation tree stood tall in the great wilderness. It was an indomitable spirit that connected humans, immortals, and Buddhas. This meant that if the foundation tree's main root still existed, it would be in the great wilderness. But where was the great wilderness? Which world was it in? The main steel did not mention it. The bull stretched and said, "The heavenly monarch's heavenly monarch left behind a heavenly monarch is not bad. I enjoyed reading it last night. I can kill some time in the future. Otherwise, the days will be too boring." Then, he lamented, "Living for too long is troublesome." Huang Jiao was speechless. Many Jyotian overlords couldn't live for too long even if they wanted to. Not many people would find it troublesome and boring to live too long. Actually, Huang Jiao didn't know much about Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao. He only knew that Lu Yiping was Xing Mo's master. As for how long Lu Yiping had lived, he didn't know. After so many years, the identity of Xing Mo's master had always been a mystery. Huang Jiao couldn't help but think of Xing Mo's general, Qing Xuanlong. From Qing Xuanlong's attitude towards Lu Yiping at the Sky Steel suppression, perhaps Qing Xuanlong knew something. However, he didn't dare to reveal it to the outside world. Taurus Longjiao said again, the Kunpeng divine sect's vast thunder challenged master. If it were up to me, we should directly rush to the Kunpeng divine sect and crush him to death. There's no need to wait 2 months. Huang Jiao almost choked. Directly rush to the Kunpeng divine sect and crush vast thunder. He was one of the top 10 experts of the heaven battling era. Taurus Longjiao said it as if it was as easy as crushing a cockroach. Moreover, the Kunpeng divine sect didn't only have vast thunder. There was still Qin Yuqian, and there might be even more terrifying existences. The Kunpeng divine sect had existed since the ancient times, going through the ancient era, middle era, and recent era. Who knew how many old immortals there were? At this time, Lu Yiping said indifferently, let him jump around for a few days first. We'll go to the Kunpeng divine sect after a few days. Huang Jiao was dumbfounded. Did master mean that they would really go to the Kunpeng divine sect after a few days? Ziwei City, like the ancient mystic city, was one of the oldest cities in the Great Void region. However, compared to the bustling ancient mystic city, Ziwei City was a little cold and cheerless. On the wide streets, people walked in 2s and 3s. The shops on the streets were also very quiet. When Lu Yiping and the other 2 arrived at Ziwei City, they were surprised to see how quiet it was. Why is Ziwei City so quiet and cheerless? Taurus Longjiao asked. Huang Jiao was also puzzled. Tens of thousands of years ago, Ziwei City was bustling with life. I wonder how it became so quiet and cheerless. The 3 of them found the residence that the shop owner mentioned. You want to see our master? In front of the residence, a guard was alerted when he heard the purpose of Lu Yiping and the other 2's visit. Lu Yiping said, go in and report that the person who stirred the black dragon Qin is here to visit. Please wait a moment. A guard went in to report. Soon, a middle-aged man walked out in large strides. The other party looked very surprised and excited. So it's Lord Lu. This lowly one, Che Dongyang, greets Lord Lu. After the middle-aged man came out, he hurried forward and bowed respectfully. The shop owner had already told him that the person who stirred the black dragon Qin was called Lu Yiping. Che Dongyang naturally heard about the battle at Heavenly Steel Town. Currently, all the streets and alleys of Jyotian cities were talking about the battle at Heavenly Steel Town and the ancestor of lightning punishment, Lu Yiping. When the guard saw their master coming out, he actually bowed respectfully to Lu Yiping. He was shocked because he knew that their master was a big shot. Subsequently, Lu Yiping and the other 2 entered the residence under Che Dongyang's invitation. When they arrived at the main hall of the residence, Che Dongyang invited Lu Yiping to take the seat of honor. Lu Yiping did not stand on ceremony and sat down. He then took out the broken misty sword and asked, I heard from the shop owner that this broken misty sword is your family's heirloom. Chapter 149. Misty Aqua Sword. Che Dongyang was puzzled. This sword is indeed my family's heirloom, but I didn't know it was called Misty Aqua Sword. Lu Yiping frowned. He originally wanted to learn more about Luo River from Che Dongyang, but now, Che Dongyang didn't even know that the sword was Misty Aqua Sword, much less about Luo River. Is your ancestor Che Ping? Lu Yiping asked. Che Ping. Che Dongyang shook his head. My grandfather is called Che Guohua, an ancestor of the Purple Lightning Temple from more than 100,000 years ago. Purple Lightning Temple. Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao were surprised. Che Dongyang noticed Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao's expressions and found it strange. Is your grandfather still alive? Lu Yiping asked, do you know Huang Yuandong? He was also one of the Purple Lightning Temple's ancestors. Che Dongyang shook his head, never heard of him. He then asked, may I know why Lord Lu is looking for him? I have something to ask him. Lu Yiping continued, is your grandfather still alive? Che Dongyang hesitated for a moment, then said, back then, when the Purple Lightning Temple was destroyed, my grandfather was lucky enough to escape. However, I haven't seen him for many years, so I'm not sure if he's still alive. Lu Yiping's heart was filled with hope, but after hearing Che Dongyang's answer, his heart sank and he said in disappointment, if you have any news about your grandfather in the future, please inform me. Che Dongyang was flattered, please rest assured, Lord Lu. If I have any news about my grandfather, I will inform Lord Lu at the first possible moment. Lu Yiping did not continue on this topic and changed the topic. The store owner said that you're looking for someone who can move the black dragon Qin. Che Dongyang nodded, yes. He hesitated for a moment, then said, I won't hide it from Lord Lu, I obtained a treasure map to the Palace of the Holy Zither. The Palace of the Holy Zither. Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao were surprised. Su Qiaoyin's snow filling heaven and earth was the zither of the Palace of the Holy Zither. He did not expect Che Dongyang to have obtained the treasure map to the Palace of the Holy Zither. I've had this Palace of the Holy Zither's treasure map for many years. I've been studying it, but to no avail. Che Dongyang said helplessly, to solve the mystery of the treasure map of the Palace of the Holy Zither, only a Supreme Master of the Zither can do it. I have no other choice, so I came up with a plan to seek help from others. I have some grudges with the Qin and Painting School, so I can't invite the experts from the Qin and Painting School. Lu Yiping grunted and said, where's the treasure map to the Palace of the Holy Zither? Let me have a look. Che Dongyang was about to take out the treasure map when suddenly, a guard rushed in with a panicked expression and said to Che Dongyang, Master, the people from the Heavenly Beast sect are here. Che Dongyang's expression changed. Lu Yiping was surprised. Heavenly Beast sect. Earlier, the shop owner said that his master was in trouble and could not rush back. Was it because of the Heavenly Beast sect? Among the top 10 forces in Zhoutian, the Heavenly Beast sect was ranked 7th. The Heavenly Beast sect used their beasts to intimidate the Zhoutian. Many of the Heavenly Beast sect's ancestors could even control a beast with a single glance and use it to kill their enemies. It was rumored that a certain sect master of the Heavenly Beast sect had a powerful soul and could control tens of thousands of powerful beasts at once. Let them in. Che Dongyang calmed down and said to his guards. No need. At this time, a slightly arrogant and insolent voice sounded. A middle-aged man with a rough appearance and a full beard walked in. He was clad in animal hide. Behind him was a group of Heavenly Beast sex experts, more than a dozen of them. This person was none other than the Heavenly Beast sex ancestor, Pan Hongping. He was an early-stage world lord with 7 million battle planes worth of surface energy. Oh, it's brother Pan Hongping. Che Dongyang quickly stood up seeing Pan Hongping come in person. Although Che Dongyang was also an early-stage world lord, he only had 2 million battle planes worth of surface energy. I heard from your subordinates that you have important guests in your residence. Are these the people? Pan Hongping looked at Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao, then said to Che Dongyang, are they the helpers you invited? Che Dongyang, you'd better hand over the treasure map, otherwise, no one will be leaving this residence today. Che Dongyang looked at Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao, then said to Pan Hongping, "Brother Pan Hongping, let me introduce these two lords to you." Pan Hongping waved his hand dismissively, barking, "No need for introductions, I don't have time to chat with you. I'll ask again, where's the treasure map?" Right at this time, Lu Yiping said nonchalantly, "The treasure map, I want it, you can leave." Pan Hongping turned around, looking at Lu Yiping. One of the heavenly beast sex experts behind Pan Hongping stepped forward, snickering, "You want it? Punk, say another word, we can't hear you clearly." But just as he finished speaking, Taurus Longjiao slapped him across the face, sending him spinning in circles on the spot. The heavenly beast sex experts were stunned. Taurus Longjiao snickered, "Can't hear clearly? Did you hear me clearly this time?" Pan Hongping's face darkened, looking at Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao, indifferent. People who meddle in other people's business often die a horrible death. You'll die without an intact corpse. The void behind Huang Xiaolong split open, and a giant divine beast walked out from the void. This giant divine beast was covered in flames, with a single horn on its head. It was the size of a small hill, exuding a powerful aura. Flaming Unicorn Lion. Che Dongyang exclaimed in shock. Flaming unicorn lions walked out from the void one after another, their roars shaking the heavens. There were actually 5,000 to 6,000 of them. The mansion had long since collapsed from these flaming unicorn lions' roars. "Go, tear the 3 of them to shreds and eat them raw, piece by piece." In an instant, these several thousand flaming unicorn lions charged towards Lu Yiping, Taurus Longjiao, and Huang Jiao. However, before these several thousand flaming unicorn lions could reach Lu Yiping and the others, suddenly, a hole opened in the void, and countless divine lightning bolts fell from the sky. 5 elements divine lightning. Yin-yang divine lightning. Annihilation divine lightning. Chaos divine lightning. Dazzling streaks of divine lightning illuminated the Jiutian. The surrounding heaven and earth were drowned in endless divine lightning. The several thousand flaming unicorn lions didn't even have the chance to scream before they were annihilated by the endless divine lightning. The endless divine lightning was still rolling, and the chaos lightning aura was still swirling in the air. Pan Hongping was aghast, lightning tribulation. He stared at Lu Yiping, "You're the ancestor of lightning tribulation, Lu Yiping." Just as Pan Hongping finished speaking, the chaos lightning aura swept over him, and his body was torn to pieces. The other heavenly beast sect experts suffered the same fate, their bodies were torn apart. In the end, there was only one person left. The endless divine lightning stopped in front of him. That heavenly beast sect expert stared at the endless divine lightning in front of him, and he felt his breath leaving his body. Lu Yiping looked at him and said, "Go back and tell your heavenly beast sex people that I killed them, and the treasure map is also mine." With a flick of his wrist, that heavenly beast sect expert was sent flying into the void, disappearing into the horizon. As for where he was sent to, Che Dongyang and his guards couldn't see. Chapter 150. Che Dongyang and his guards stared at the sky for a long time, unable to recover from their shock. After a long time, Che Dongyang regained his senses and bowed to Lu Yiping. "Dongyang thanks Lord Lu for saving us." The reverence in his eyes deepened. Although he had heard about the heavenly steel suppression, he hadn't seen it with his own eyes. Now that he saw Lu Yiping kill Pan Hongping and the others with a single strike, he couldn't hide the shock in his heart. "It was nothing," Lu Yiping said. "Where's the treasure map? Let me see." Che Dongyang hurriedly took out the treasure map of the palace of the Holy Zither and handed it to Lu Yiping. Lu Yiping took the treasure map and looked at it. The treasure map was made from the skin of an unknown divine beast. It wasn't big, only the size of 2 palms. And there was only a zither drawn on the map. There was nothing else. And the zither had no strings. Taurus Longjiao was stunned, and Huang Jiao was even more dumbfounded. There was only a zither drawn, and a stringless one at that. What was this? Could it be that we have to connect the missing strings? Taurus Longjiao shook his head. Che Dongyang said, I've sought out countless zither experts, but none of them could connect the strings. You can't connect the strings. Taurus Longjiao frowned. Lu Yiping's expression was normal. He said, naturally, this string doesn't need a brush to connect it. Can't use a brush. Huang Jiao shook his head. I don't understand. At this time, Lu Yiping made a grabbing motion in the air. One after another, musical notes appeared in the air and gathered, finally forming 5 strings. These 5 strings were divided into 5 different colors. Water, fire, wood, metal, and earth. 5 types of energy flowed continuously within the 5 strings, multiplying and multiplying endlessly, reinforcing and restraining each other. When the 5 strings were formed, Lu Yiping pointed at the treasure map, and the 5 strings fell onto the stringless zither in the treasure map. When the 5 strings were integrated into the stringless zither, the treasure map shone brightly. The aura of a primordial beast spread out. Che Dongyang, Huang Jiao, and the others were shocked. Evidently, the skin of the treasure map was made from the skin of an enormous great desolate beast. But soon, the aura was retracted, and the zither glowed with light. The 5 strings were filled with red, yellow, white, blue, and green lights. As the light grew brighter, the zither began to play on its own. 5 different notes sounded from the 5 strings. These notes condensed in mid-air and finally condensed into a picture. This miraculous scene made everyone click their tongues in wonder. This is Jiutian, Che Dongyang said as he looked at the picture formed by the 5 elemental notes. Everyone's eyes fell on the core point in the middle of the diagram, where the 5 elements gathered. It's the zither domain. The location of the palace of the holy zither's treasure is in the zither domain, hidden God Valley. Che Dongyang deduced. After a while, the image disappeared. The 5 zither strings on the treasure map also slowly dissipated. Che Dongyang said to Lu Yiping, My lord Zither Dao has reached the point of turning something rotten into something magical. Dongyang is truly fortunate to be able to see such supreme Zither Dao today. Just now, Lu Yiping condensed the 5 strings and integrated them into the zither in the treasure map. It seemed easy, but in reality, it was harder than ascending to the heavens. Without supreme Zither Dao, it was impossible. Taurus Longjiao smiled, zither, chess, calligraphy, painting, medicine, beast taming, my lord learned all of these in his spare time. My lord's true expertise is in alchemy and array formations. Che Dongyang and the others were shocked. These were not his expertise. Could it be that Lu Yiping's alchemy and array formations were better than his Zither Dao? Since we know the location of the treasure, let's make some preparations and head to the Zither domain. Lu Yiping said. In fact, there was nothing much to prepare. After a while, Lu Yiping and the others set off for the Zither domain. Che Dongyang did not bring many people, only 2 personal guards. These 2 were absolutely loyal to him and were not weak. They were both peak late-stage heavenly gods. Although the Zither domain was not as big as the Great Void domain, it was still one of the Jiutian domains. The Zither domain was relatively special among the Jiutian domains. That was because the Qin and Painting School's sect was located in the Zither domain. Due to the influence of the Qin and Painting School, there were countless large and small sects in the Zither domain that cultivated the Zither Dao. Therefore, the moment they entered the Zither domain, they passed by countless cities. There were zither almost everywhere. In the cities, there were disciples playing the zither everywhere. Along the way, the sound of the zither lingered. On the 3rd day, Che Dongyang pointed ahead and said, We'll reach the hidden God Valley. Right at this time, Che Dongyang's footsteps stopped abruptly. Astonishment was written all over his face. Not far from them, a figure had appeared. This person was wearing the Qin and Painting School's zither robe. His hands were behind his back, and his back was facing Lu Yiping, Taurus Longjiao, and the others. Judging from this person's back, he should be a middle-aged man in his 40s or 50s. It was obvious that this person had been waiting for them. The middle-aged man turned around. His skin was fair like a scholar's, and his gaze fell on Lu Yiping. This one is Lu Rushing from the Qin and Painting School. I've been waiting for Master Lu for a long time. Che Dongyang was shocked hearing this. You're the Painting Saint Lu Rushing. Painting Saint Lu Rushing. Zither God Fu Chao and the demonic Zither Master. He was also the supreme overlord of the heaven battling era. Before Zither God Fu Chao went into seclusion, he was crowned as the Zither God by the Jyotian people. As Fu Chao's master, Lu Rushing's Zither Dao was much higher than Fu Chao's. However, Lu Rushing's forte was not in Zither Dao, but in Painting Dao. Lu Rushing was revered as the Painting Saint. His Painting Dao had reached a level that was incomprehensible to the common people. Huang Jiu was even more shocked and he heard Che Dongyang say that the person in front of him was the Painting Saint Lu Rushing. Back when he was still in the Phoenix God School, he had heard many of the Phoenix God School's ancestors talk about this Painting Saint Lu Rushing's legendary deeds. Lu Rushing looked at Che Dongyang and Huang Jiu, then said to Lu Yiping, "That's right, I am the Painting Saint Lu Rushing, Fu Chao and the demonic Zither Master." Lu Yiping remained calm. "You're here to avenge Fu Chao and the demonic Zither Master?" However, Lu Rushing shook his head, yes, and no. His eyes shone. "I heard from the disciples of the Qin and Painting School that you once said that there are 10 levels of the Zither deity. Above the Zither deity are the Qin Emperor and the Qin Ancestor. I would like to compare notes with Master Lu on the Tao of the Zither." Lu Yiping said, "There's no need for that." Just when Lu Rushing thought that Lu Yiping was going to refuse, Lu Yiping said, "Since you're called the Painting Saint, your Painting Tao must be even higher. Let's compare in Painting Tao." "Compare in Painting Tao? Are you sure?" Lu Rushing looked at Lu Yiping and said, "Ever since I entered the Qin and Painting School, I have never been defeated in Painting Tao." He said it calmly, but it was full of confidence. He had never been defeated. This meant that no one in the 9 heavens could surpass him in terms of painting. Taurus Longjiao smiled, "You haven't been defeated because the people you've met are all crooked." "Make your move," Lu Yiping said calmly. Lu Rushing stared at Lu Yiping and said with a smile, "Since Master Lu is so confident, then I'll ask Master Lu for advice on Painting Tao." As he said this, he took out a brush. The tip of the brush was as thick as an arm, and the body of the brush was smooth and clean, glowing like warm jade. It was the treasure of the Qin and Painting School, the ancient divine artifact, the Yin-Yang brush. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.